Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful day. They say today, Tim Reed is in this morning as our that's right, whoever they are. Tim Reed is our special guest host here this morning. They say if you are going to need to mow, you're going to want to get it in before like 1 o'clock today.
I'm running as soon as this show's over.
Turn it up towards you because
like that.
Yeah, right. Actually, a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't want to touch it. I don't know where Andrew's been.
Take off the screen. There we go.
There we go.
Now you have something someone else hasn't reached.
Good.
You're much better off with it. They say that if you want to mow, you might want to get the mowing out of the way by today at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to try to be squeezing it in with wet ground on Saturday.
You know, it's
on Sunday. Actually, it's going to rain all day Saturday.
Yeah, there's potential northeaster. You know, it kind of it's very green out. It is. It reminds me of it's like Ireland without the charm.
I think that's fair.
No Lucky Charms.
The interesting green, and I got to tell you, I'm so far, like, I take such pride in my backyard. I work, as you know.
Yes.
Like, it's obscene.
It is.
It's ridiculous. And you know what? I understand that, and I don't care. I just don't care. I love
I'm glad you're proud of something.
Well, my wife is okay with it. So
that's good.
That's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I am so far behind, and the amazing thing is I have so many weeds.
Yeah,
and I pick some and get rid of some, and you don't want to use the spray,
yeah.
but and the spray uses. This is something you have to remember here. If you use a certain type of weed killer, it needs sunshine to be able to kill the weed.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Well, didn't you have that special?
I do. I have heavy-duty vinegar to go along with it. I'll repost that.
You should.
That non-lethal, non-cancer-causing. And by the way, it is what causes leukemia, is contact with those chemicals. So I was told I was in contact, and I didn't understand. I said, I've been so careful with that stuff. And my wife said, do you remember back when we had the house in Ilion, and we had, these pine trees in the back? It was a double lot. We loved it. But if you had a party, you had to get rid of the mosquitoes.
Oh, the
fogger? And I would do it myself. I use the fogger, which I love.
Yeah, I do too.
But before the fogger, which is made here in New York Mills,
correct,
at Fountainhead, I used that bottle thing. You get it. You put it on your hose, and it kills the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And it says, if you really read into it, it says, make sure you completely cover yourself and wear a mask.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm out in shorts. I'm spraying it. The wind's blowing it back in my face. You're completely soaked. And I would spray that 5 or 6 times a year. And I wonder if that's the contact that I made. According to my doctors in Buffalo, they say, you've come into some contact with a pesticide that, now maybe I'm eating it. Maybe it's food that I'm eating. You don't know. Or maybe it's getting rid of the mosquitoes. Yeah. Was it worth it?
Active Agent Orange.
Yeah. I wanted to see if I could. I just cannot be.
And by the way, this is a very difficult day for me to deal with after you having the main band play yesterday. Be as co-host.
Well, that was fun. That was fun yesterday.
I feel like I'm the opening act that followed the main act.
Yes.
It's not good.
I'm trying to look up the. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to look up the definition of I believe it's Latin, the Latin definition of habeas corpus, and I'm pretty sure what makes all of this work with Kristi Noem is I'm pretty sure it says must have a good body. I think that's what a habeas corpus means.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. It means you have the body.
Well,
that's what it means.
I don't know.
Literally, it's what it means. So
you're heading down the wrong trail.
It does. It kind of feels like, I mean, she's an attractive woman. She's got the bod. But, man, she is the head of Homeland Security and cannot tell a member of Congress what habeas corpus means. After everything that's been going on, after it's been in the news every day since the immigration thing started, she does not know what habeas corpus is.
Well, she's a busy woman.
Apparently.
Getting those people out.
I mean, she could have just said, well, it's due process. That would have solved the whole thing. It's due process. No, she said it's the right the president has to be able to deport. What? What? I mean, doesn't she even read the news? Just read a couple news stories. It's like in every story. That's in the news. We'll chat about that. And let's see what else. She's really good at dressing up. She'll dress up properly for each occasion.
Yeah.
If she's going to the South, she's got a cowboy hat on. If she's heading off to the Northeast, maybe there's a sweater tied on the back of her neck.
Yeah.
What
if she came here? She's got to wear hurricane jacket with one of those hats the Gloucester
like the
fisherman wore.
The fisherman there. We'll speak about the county executives, and actually he'll be in this morning in the 8 o'clock hour. County Executive Tony Pisani, and a recap of his State of the County address yesterday. And I got to say, this plan for the hangar at Griffiths, did you see this?
I did.
This is really, I think it's exciting.
It's impressive.
They're talking about and actually this is, I think what they're doing, it's going to be a sports complex. Mm-hmm. And this could actually be a big game changer for baseball.
Yeah.
It really could be any sport, but in terms of being able to also be a practice facility.
Yep.
I mean, we have such a problem here in that you can't really, as a high school student, April maybe. I mean, May can be tricky getting out there and playing baseball. And by October, it's pretty much too cold to continue. Yeah. So whereas if you go to the South, these kids are practicing and playing year round.
They're almost 12 months. Yeah.
Same, really the same thing with football.
Right.
So this facility could be, but they're talking about tournaments, baseball tournaments in the wintertime. Could you imagine?
Wow.
Pickleball in like you're living in the South. Pickleball in the wintertime. In fact, I forgot what Pisani said yesterday, but they could fit 200 inside this huge facility.
I think it was 400 or something.
400 pickleball courts.
I think that really, if you really want to you can close down Guantanamo Bay and then just tie someone down there and have to listen to that ball, 400 of those being hit. You'll go out of your mind.
That might be very painful. So we'll speak with the county executive on that, because I do think the theme yesterday was that you got to keep moving forward.
Yep.
And you have to keep thinking of ways to grow. And when you're dealing with adding 1,000 jobs in an area,
right?
That in many cases you're going to have people that are going to be moving from out of the area to here. So do we have the housing? That's another big key issue that we'll speak with him about coming up. Biden, I do want to, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm defending him, but I think that I am, and I'm interested in how, and we'll talk to the urologist. I am a little bit defending him here in that, because I'm are you saying that he has not had the president of the United States?
Yes.
First the vice president, then the president of the United States has not had a PSA test since age 70.
2014.
So I believe there was someone who told me recently they had reached 70 and said the doctor said to him, you no longer need a PSA test.
Yeah.
Or, and I can't even believe this, or a colonoscopy. Which, listen, colon cancer can kill you very fast.
Yeah.
But PSA tests, you no longer need a PSA test because you're 70 and you will outlive any cancer. So the last one he had was when he was 70.
Right.
I think it's typical with a lot of doctors. Now, the only thing I would say is you're becoming the president of the United States. Aren't we more thorough for the president of the United States?
One would think.
And that is a question I think we have to ask.
The other thing is that I do wonder a bit is that I think to a certain extent, and I know I have a family member who's gone through this in regards to whatever it is, who was older, and he's still with us. But they were saying some of it depends on how active you are in regards to that. Whereas, if they think you're going to live till potentially 90.
Right, maybe you should do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
point.
it's an individual thing in regard to
God,
it. And I do. They stopped 10 years ago. Might as well.
So they're looking at you. They're looking at people like.
Well, I don't know. You think he's going to make it?
I mean, and actually, it's like that when you, God forbid, if you go into a lawsuit with an insurance company over a fatality.
Yep.
They're looking at you.
They bring out the mortuary table.
It's unbelievable. They're like, here's how long the person was going to live. Here's what the person would have become.
Right.
Here's how much the person would have earned. And based on these numbers and all the stuff that they collect, they determine what the settlement should be. I mean, it gets down to that.
That's why actuaries make as much money as they do.
That's exactly right. So I kind of wonder, but you would think for the president of the United States, they would say, listen, it's just a blood test.
Right.
We're already drawing blood. We're just going to apply some of it over here to the PSA test.
Exactly.
Maybe it was the part where the doctor said, no nookie for 3 weeks. And Biden was
I've heard people had problems with that.
No, absolutely not.
I'm an active president.
Jill said no. She said no. Oh, boy. We'll speak with Ryan Schmelz coming up in a few minutes. Tanya J. Powers in a few. Rose Ann Leparco, Master Gardener with Cornell, is on this morning. I love her.
Yeah.
We have who's coming on. By the way, on the issue of Biden, we're going to talk with a urologist.
Yes.
And that is
Dan Welkons.
Okay. And that'll be the person who can answer a lot of this.
Absolutely.
Stuff for us,
he's smarter than both of us combined.
Yeah. We'll do Hobica's free money question. How much is it worth today, Davey? $150. Make it $200
come on,
today.
Davey. Gee whiz.
Bah humbug here.
Just because it's a dreary day doesn't mean you have to be dreary.
Terrible weather.
$200.
Let's see. President Trump took a trip to the Hill yesterday to unite the Republican Party. And how successful was he? On the line right now, Ryan Schmelz, who does know the definition of habeas corpus. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I got to tell you, these anti-votes are dug in on the Republican side.
And they still are dug in. President Trump mentioned Mike Lawler by name, went right after him, said, "I know your district better than you do. If you lose re-election, it won't be because of SALT." I mean, it was he went in there looking for certain people, and he certainly called some people out, and he had some very flattering statements about Mike Johnson, though, before the meeting. I'm kind of shocked it's not getting more press, but it was quite interesting.
Yeah.
What was said? What did he say?
He said that President Trump said he could not do Mike Johnson's job with a one-seat majority. He said that he's his biggest fan. He said that he is a nice guy. He's religious. He prays, and he was like, I like to pray too, but not like this guy does.
Yeah, he's a super. He was say he's a super prayer.
And he bought my Bible. So that is that's surreal. Well, listen. What he's saying is he realizes he's got a tough task here. This is not easy.
And I think people were aware of how hard Mike Johnson's job was before, but I think just as time has gone on and you see just how dug in some of these folks are on some of these issues, I mean, you just realize how hard this is to get every single person on board and to pretty much not lose anybody, or at least just lose very few people. So this has become quite a challenge for Speaker Johnson, and it still is a challenge because the House Rules Committee is meeting right now. They're supposed to be offering up amendments, and if they're going to change the bill, this is the time to do it. As of right now, we haven't seen that happen yet, but it still goes on.
How far do you think Lawler, Stefanik, how far do you think they're willing to go?
Well, yesterday, Nick Lolota told us, and Mike Lawler said the same thing, that they have a deal that is imminent. So we're just waiting to see what the details of that look up are going to be. They would not go into details of what that potential new offer is. They said it's a better offer than what they've been offered before. So we'll see what that looks like. Clearly, they haven't come up with it yet because you would think they would have probably put it into the Rules Committee by now. But that committee meeting is still ongoing, and we don't know what's going to happen.
It is interesting, though, even as you watch all of this play out. You have Moody's saying that if the best case of this budget, the best case scenario, will not even put a dent in the huge, enormous deficit.
Yeah.
And still we plow forward, and knowing that, I mean, everybody knows it, right? We still plow forward because it is so difficult to get people to say, you can take my services away. Or God forbid you touch Social Security or Medicare.
Medicare,
yeah. So it's a tough. That's a tough hose. So.
It certainly is, and the reality. I mean, just the likelihood, best case scenario for this one is that it's going to be deficit neutral. But I think that people need to realize too, if they were going to truly make a true dent in the deficit or make any progress on the national debt, yes, the budget reconciliation process can be a tool for that. But I think the actual budget process, which is going to be the actual funding of the government for the next fiscal year, that's when you really get into the amount of money America spends.
Yeah.
And you had a big increase in defense spending too. So I mean that's kind of on the other side of the ledger.
And it gets higher every single year, whether it's a Republican or Democrat as president. And so I mean that's the one people don't want to talk about, but it's probably where it's one of the entitlements in military are probably the place that you have to go if you really want to reduce the size of government and reduce the amount of money it's spending. But those aren't things that politically people want to touch.
It's very. Boy, this is a tough run. So we keep plowing forward, and let's not forget. A lot of this deficit was created, to be fair, be fair to Biden, to be fair to Trump, yes, decades, but beyond that, COVID was enormous to keep the country's economy going. Yeah. And then when you go back to the banking crisis, when Bush termed out and Obama came in, there was a ton of money there that was spent. So, but yet
we fought a war for 20 years,
and we still continue to do that. So, it is all pretty. It's all pretty crazy. So, they must just immediately cut him. There's someone listening in to our conversation. Anyway, Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio. Coming up, I want to talk about the school budgets, and there's one bad one to note. Got a troubled situation with one of the school districts and the budget vote yesterday. I'll tell you which one that is and what it means. It's always a challenge when a budget doesn't pass. This one, interestingly, didn't pass, but it passed. I'll get into that coming right up. Stand by. It's 6:38 at WIBX.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica, Commercial Drive, Yorkville. 3 juveniles were arrested following an incident at the Madison Oneida Bosse's Triplexus building in Verona yesterday morning. According to the Oneida County Sheriff's Office, they were called by the school resource officer to help stop an altercation on school grounds. Deputies arrived at the scene and 2 juveniles were arrested for obstruction of government governmental administration. A third was also arrested on the same charge, as well as on menacing and harassment charges. All three were issued appearance tickets and released to their guardians. Water shutoffs continue in the village of Ilion today. The shutoffs are due to water valve replacements. Areas affected by today's shutoffs will be the area from Shull Street, from West Prospect Street, West Rand Street, Harrison Avenue, Vosburg Street, Clark Place, West Montgomery Street from Division Street to Clark Place. Surrounding areas may be affected if further valve installations are deemed necessary. Shutoffs will continue through the end of the month. The full shutoff schedule and affected streets is available to see online on the Village of Ilion's Facebook page. A school district in Suffolk County is issuing an alert that one of its students is undergoing treatment for tuberculosis. It's advised anyone who may have had prolonged contact with the Sachem East High School student to undergo testing for the infectious airborne bacteria that causes tuberculosis. Letters have gone out to 116 students and 7 staffers. Nurses were administering TB tests at the school on Monday, with results being evaluated by health department officials at the school. There were 52 cases of TB last year in Suffolk, with 48 in Nassau County. And New York Governor Kathy Hochul issued a formal apology to the Seneca people for atrocities that occurred at Thomas Indian School in Irving. Her visit marked the first time a sitting New York governor appeared in Seneca Nation territory. Hochul said the apology is designed to strengthen relationships with the state's indigenous population. Thomas Indian School was open from 1855 to 1957 and became known for its harsh treatment of indigenous children who were separated from their families and forced to attend. Your Weather Center forecast is next. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
More showers on the way. Thunderstorms in the forecast, but we don't think severe weather. Low pressure is going to transfer its energy to the coast, and doesn't mean much for us except more showers. Scattered showers coming in midday into the afternoon from west to east today, 58. Tonight, 44. Occasional rain. Rain breezy tomorrow, 50. More rain possible Friday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajik, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
We're all looking around at the temperature. I love it. Sorry, we talked during the breaks. 48 degrees is what we have under cloudy skies at WIBX's. Richard says, no need to worry over here. We mowed our lawn yesterday.
Oh, good. Why don't you come to my house?
6:42. I want to get into the school budget thing coming right up at WIBX.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually in fact true. How would you like up to $2,000 of free windows? When I say $2,000 of free windows, I mean $2,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $2,000 to get $2,000 free. You just get $2,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of the restrictions are income-based. And you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home Solutions. Online at patriothomesolutions.com.
The Memorial Day sale is on at Mattress Express. No one in New York State has all the brands we have. Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish. And now we have added Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta, and Avocado. Hurry!
Do it old school with Heritage Logging and Tree Removal, the area's go-to land clearing company. They specialize in tree removal, land clearing, stump grinding, and more. For your free estimate, call 315-796-2941 or visit heritagelogging.com.
This is Keeler in the Morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 6:43, and we have clouds, and it's cool out.
Yeah.
And what's new? Yeah, were you telling me yesterday? You were right. We talked yesterday, and you said that you felt that it's depressing. The weather is depressing.
Absolutely.
Especially when you come up on a holiday weekend, which we're coming up on, and the forecast of what it's looking like is depressing.
Every single person that I saw yesterday or whatever it was the lead thing that they would say, Hi, how you doing? Doesn't this weather stay? I mean, every single person.
Every single person I saw yesterday was frumpy, just looking down, depressed.
Yeah.
Yes, I was at a nursing home, but still, it was. I spent some time.
You know, what's worse is we went to dinner last night and there was a couple from Florida, and they were complaining about how warm it is there. I wanted to take my salad fork and stick it in their hand.
And to be honest, I shouldn't say that about a nursing home because the reality, they do. They're like they're entertainment people, and they have happy hours every day. It's unbelievable what.
And those people that work there, they're doing God's work.
They definitely are. Yep. So I was just.
Were you looking for your?
I was looking for a cheap joke.
Next place, or
yeah, I was.
The way things are going.
The way things are going.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about. I'll get there. What do I want to do? Is where I'm at. I did want to say a certified pre-owned vehicle from Mazda is a tremendous value. At Steep Pony Mazda, they have the ultimate customer experience, where they select only the best late model Mazdas for their Mazda certified pre-owned vehicles. They offer a 160-point inspection, balance of the 70 or 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and if you need a lower price or a lower payment, you say to Ricky Z, I need a lower price or a lower payment. And he takes care of that. He'll work with you. You'll get a deal. Let's make your deal on a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle from the dealership that has achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction. Obviously, every scenario, every situation is different.
Yeah.
But the one thing that is always remaining the same, they work their tail off for you.
And his piano playing.
And his people and his piano playing as
Keyboard.
It's Steep Pony Mazda. First place nationally in customer satisfaction. Steep Pony Mazda Commercial Drive in Bridgewater. I'm sorry, in Yorkville. In Yorkville.
Where the hell are you going?
You'll see. Here's John from Bridgewater.
Hey, Phil.
Good morning, John.
Is he working at the new? Is he working at the new?
You like the new Steep facility in Bridgewater?
Yeah, it's awesome. I applied there for part time.
Beautiful. You got to wear the little white suit
Phil.
when you pump the gas. It's really nice.
Yeah. Hey, this weather is awesome for fishing. I know you guys don't like to hear that, but I've been hitting them left and right in the Sequoia Creek.
Can I tell you? I have a little. We have a little, and when I say little, it is little. A little pond that is probably deeper than it is wide. But it's a little pond that we have decorative, but it has fish in it. And it is interesting when it's moderate temperature, 50s, 60s, whatever, and it's raining, those fish come right up to the top. It's really incredible. Yeah.
John,
I know Wayne.
Why is that, John? Why is it when is it that the fish can't see you? What is the science behind this?
They can see, because I went out Sunday morning and the water was so fast and dirty, but it don't matter, man. All I do is I just put a hook on it and a sinker, and I just throw it upstream as far as I go, and I just let it drift down. And they can see it, believe me.
And it works.
Huh.
My smallest fish is 16 and a half, and my biggest is almost 18.
Wow.
So
you've had a good year. Now, are you able to eat those fish? You
yeah. I bring them home, I skin them and everything. So, but yeah, I just wanted to call in and just say hello, and it was great to hear Jeff and Andrew.
It was, wasn't it?
Awesome.
Yes, it really was.
It was very good.
Anyways, and John, it's great to hear Tim. Right? Come on.
Yeah, throw me a bone.
Bill, I pulled over and I says, I want to say hi to Bill, and my mind went blank on Tim.
Thank you.
And hello, Tim.
Well, he did with Steet, so in Waterville.
And then of course, Davey. One quick question. A flashback went before my head, in my eyes, in the back of my head, whatever. And I remember my father saying, "Throw it back in. It's a chub." What? And I didn't think that. I never knew what that meant. And I guess I still don't. So what does that mean?
A chub. I don't know. It's a small chub that's not edible, like one of them little. They look like a bullhead, but they got little horns on them.
Okay, so it's a not. I don't know. It's not an edible fish. So it's a fish. A chub is a fish.
I don't know. I don't think so. A chub. Right. I've always thought there was something that you don't eat and you just throw them back in.
Well, that's exactly. You would think my father would have been like, this is what it should have been. Throw it back in. It's a chub. Son, a chub is ... And I never got that second part.
You get that in the morning.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right, John, thank you. And Wayne, maybe Wayne. Thank you. I just took my medicine, so you got to give me a break.
I just looked at the definition. I see where his mind's bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Let's get into the school district thing. Yes. And I know I'm going to have Tanya coming right up.
Yes.
There's one school district that passed their budget, but they needed a supermajority vote because they were going over the tax cap. I think it was like 9%.
Ooh.
And I got to tell you, there's a whole thing going on out there with this is stuff. There's a whole insurance thing going on out there that is causing school districts a lot of money right now because of miscalculations in what was expected. And I'll get my father-in-law on this, Rick Timms on this at some point. But here's what I'm going to tell you, and trust me, I may be wrong, but I think this is correct. So you have to, if you're going over the tax cap, you have to pass the budget by a supermajority. If you don't, you can present that budget or another budget at another vote, which they'll be scheduling another vote.
Right.
Or you can make that other budget where you cut things. And if that fails, you then will go on a contingency budget, and you're going to be living with, that's where sports can be cut, and where this is a tough situation. And, school districts can only operate on what they can, without dropping needed teachers and programs that, what would come first most likely would be extracurricular.
So does... I know Cuomo actually started this whole thing in regards to
the tax cap thing.
Does the state have to live within that too, or is that just a pronouncement that came from above? That
municipalities live with it. Each is different. I think each is different. I don't, but I think the tax cap. If you remember, the Utica's Common Council just overrode the tax cap. They are able to do it differently, but a school district, it's a vote, so that's a big problem. Let me switch gears. We'll talk more about that coming up. Wayne, I'll get to you. You're gonna have to hang. Tanya J. Powers on the line right now. Tanya, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I know your topic here this morning. New Jersey Congresswoman facing federal charges related to ICE. They're saying that this woman
I saw the video.
Them. I did. It just seemed to escalate to a point that it should never have escalated to, which is probably fault on both sides, in my opinion, which I'll be hammered for that. But what are your thoughts, Tanya, and what are you reporting?
It kind of devolved into something chaotic. The video, of course, I think most people have seen the video by now. It went viral. Shows this pushing. To be clear, nobody drew knives or guns or anything. It wasn't that kind of a thing. It was a lot of pushing, a lot of you let me go, that kind of stuff. Outside this detention center, Delaney Hall is what it's called there in Newark. And she, Representative LaMonica McIver, along with her colleagues, Rob Menendez and Bonnie Watson Coleman, had gone to this ICE facility there in Newark, Delaney Hall, to do oversight. Apparently they had gotten some word that they didn't have the proper permits to open this and basically conduct it as an ICE facility, like a private prison sort of thing. And that's what they went to check on, according to the reason that they stated they were there. And the whole thing kind of devolved. This is the whole melee where the Newark mayor, Ras Baraka, was arrested.
He was arrested,
and taken into custody. He was. Now, they have since dropped the charges against him. But they, and I say they, I'm talking about the New Jersey interim U.S. Attorney, Alina Habba, announced on X the charge against McIver, basically, kind of escalating things. And they agreed to, like I said, drop that trespass charge against the mayor. So that's kind of where things are now. There was a House Oversight Committee hearing yesterday in which things went about like you would imagine between Democrats and Republicans on this particular topic. That really, I don't think it was surprising that they kind of went back and forth at each other over all of this. It's show me a hearing that does not turn political these days.
Right. Well, especially these days. I almost felt like watching this. You know what? Judge Judy is needed here. Yeah. Can you imagine if she were to come in and she'd be like, hop, 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 hop.
Everything's theater. Everything's theater.
Everything is. It is just ridiculous. And you know what? I'm sorry. It's on. I am disgusted with both sides of everything right now. I feel that way. And I don't know the Tanya. I don't know the answer. This is really difficult to watch how divided we are as a country. Yet I want to say we were in New York for my daughter's graduation, and you'd have thought the world was harmonious in New York City. It's like everybody, they're all believing one way. It's they all have. Whereas you come upstate, it's completely the opposite. It's really interesting to see as you travel, but really where you live and what microcosm you live in, it can be a very different world.
Well, I will tell you that you spend much time here in the city at all, you will definitely see people with opposing views.
Oh, I agree with that. Yes.
Willing to share.
If you're thinking this is a blue haven of some sort, that is not the case. Especially if you take a look at the last presidential election and the amount of red that is now in New York City.
That is really incredible.
It's not Staten Island and Long Island anymore. It's much. There was a lot more inroads that the Republicans made in New York City, itself. So it is way more. You're way more likely to see somebody in a Trump hat now than you were.
And that is true. Although I will tell you, take a trip up here if you really want to see Trump hats. A little different world up here, I would tell you. And then speaking of Staten Island, just quickly off topic, if you don't mind, this Nona's. Have you seen the movie about the restaurant on Staten Island?
I haven't. No.
Oh, you got to check it out. It's a story about a guy whose mom dies, and he was close to his mother and his Nona. Grandmother, and he decided to open a restaurant and have grandmothers, Italian grandmothers, be the chefs. It's a really cool story. The restaurant is still open today and taking reservations, but if you get a chance, Vince Vaughn is the lead in the movie. So believe it's in Netflix.
Well, you had me at Italian grandmas.
There you go.
Yep. They know how to cook. I'm definitely interested in that. Yeah. I'll take a ferry. Yeah, absolutely.
Check that one out. So, all right, great stuff, Tanya. We appreciate it. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Tanya J. Powers, Fox News Radio. Wayne from... the car. Good morning, Wayne. Good morning. Good morning.
From on the road while I'm driving on the phone. No,
on the road.
This time I'm not.
That's
Be careful.
Okay. When my dad said, "Throw it back," it's a chub. That was because is chub a fish?
Well, chub is a bunch of different fish. It's like silverfish. It's like it's all the ones that eat your bait. But it's not what you go out to fish for. You go out to fish for trout or bass. You're catching all these suckers and silverfish. And I'll tell you what, there are people that eat them.
Yeah.
But I don't eat them. And then some people do. They take them, they mash them up, and they make them into a fish stick. Yuck.
Well, there are people that eat carp.
Sure.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all in what I guess. You go out to catch something, you don't want to go home empty-handed. I guess that's what it all amounts to.
And do you agree? Do you agree with John that the weather actually has been pretty good for fishing?
Oh, it's good. I can't believe that I'm going out. The water's so high as it is because of the rain. Yeah. It's so muddy. It's running so fast, and they could still see the bait, And the biggest one I caught was 21, and then the smallest one I'm catching is like 16, and I'm catching bass like crazy, sunfish like crazy, and perch.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Good luck out there. Enjoy the rest of the week here, man. Thank you.
Yeah, they love how the weather kicks up the flies, even your fish.
Yeah, sure they do. All right, Wayne. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Guys.
Coming up, we'll get to news and all that, and then a whole bunch next hour, including $200 for Bike is Free Money question.
contractors and landscapers. Be able to take on more jobs and get your current projects done with Warner Sales and Service. Whether it's the tough lifting and digging or the more precise work with attachments, Warner Sales and Service has the Bobcat rental to make sure your projects get done. Tough work demands tough equipment. So stop in today at Warner Sales and Service, just off Route 365 between Rome and Verona, and at WarnerSS.com.
Where quality still counts at Warner's.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the offer.
From the Stanley Theater Studios, WIBX Utica, Rome,
W295DI,
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
They've been working since 1 a.m. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The House Rules Committee trying to finalize a massive budget plan. Hours after President Trump went to the Capitol, trying to unite Republicans around one big, beautiful bill. GOP Congressman Morgan Griffith tells Fox.
I think he did change a few votes, but not all of them. And so we're still working, the Speaker is still working behind the scenes to get all the votes lined up. And it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube. You have to keep twisting things around, and eventually we can get there.
They hope for a final House vote tonight or tomorrow. Democrats oppose the budget plan.
This bill kills jobs, explodes the deficit, and overwhelmingly helps the rich.
But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer doesn't have the votes to block it once it passes the House. After the Trump trip to the Capitol, he touted the new missile defense system the commander-in-chief is planning.
Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space.
And the president plans to have the Golden Dome in place by the end of his term. Israel has an Iron Dome already in place. It attacked Hamas again with airstrikes overnight that Palestinians claim killed at least 45 people in Gaza, where Fox's Jonathan Savage reports.
Mothers say children are crying from hunger and it's becoming impossible to protect families from starvation, missiles and scorching heat. Despite Israel now allowing some trucks to enter Gaza carrying badly needed food and medicine, aid groups say none of it has yet reached civilians.
Another escaped prisoner captured in Louisiana, where the manhunt continues for 5 more still on the loose.
Corey Boyd, a 19-year-old, taken into custody at a housing development. He's now being moved to a state facility and could face additional charges. Boyd was originally held for second-degree murder, aggravated battery, and threatening a public official.
Fox's Nate Foy in New Orleans, where 10 prisoners broke out of the jail last Friday. America's listening to Fox News.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-973-9819. And you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9819. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9819 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-9819.
Well, House Republicans keep working on that massive budget bill. A Democratic congresswoman is due in court in about 4 hours to face charges of assaulting law enforcement after a clash with ICE agents at an immigration detention facility earlier this month.
New Jersey Democratic Representative LaMonica McIver told reporters Tuesday she thought charges against her are an example of what the Trump administration tries to do.
To judges, to political leaders, lacking people of undue process, and so at the end of the day, we just really look forward to the day in court.
That day is today, with the Congresswoman scheduled to appear before a U.S. magistrate in New Jersey. Acting U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, said MacIver pushed ICE agents during a confrontation outside a Newark detention facility earlier this month. The Congresswoman refused to agree to a plea deal, saying she would not admit to something she didn't do. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Texas executed a condemned murderer last night. Matthew Johnson apologized for lighting a gas station clerk on fire during a 2012 robbery, asked for forgiveness, and then was lethally injected. On Wall Street, stocks could drop again, and even more than yesterday, when the S&P 500's 23-point fall snapped a 6-day streak of gains. Dow futures down right now more than 300 points. In the NBA playoffs,
the Oklahoma City Thunder entered halftime down 4 points to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. The second half was a completely different story. The Thunder outscored Minnesota 70-40 in the final 2 quarters, blowing out the Timberwolves 114-88.
That's Fox's Joe Morgan. On the ice, the defending Stanley Cup champions are a game closer to a repeat.
Phoenix scores! Their first shot in over 15 minutes. Sam Bennett with a power play goal, extending the Panthers' lead.
And that's how it ended on TNT. Florida beat Carolina 5-2 in the NHL Eastern Conference final opener. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time is 7:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update. 49 degrees under cloudy skies. Your Weather Center forecast will be coming up right after this. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office responded to a 2-vehicle crash in the town of Westmoreland. According to Sheriff Rob Mashel, a juvenile male was driving a pickup at an unsafe speed on Creaser Road and failed to stop at a stop sign at the Lowell Road intersection. The juvenile's truck struck the side of a vehicle driven by 39-year-old Carrie Genther of Westmoreland. Both parties were taken to Wynn Hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. The juvenile's name will not be released due to his age, but he has been issued citations returnable to Westmoreland Town Court at a later date. Water shutoffs continue in the village of Ilion. The shutoffs are due to water valve replacements. Areas affected by today's shutoffs will be the area from Shull Street from West Prospect Street, West Rand Street, Harrison Avenue, Vosburg Street, Clark Place, and West Montgomery Street from Division Street to Clark Place. Surrounding areas may be affected if further valve installations are deemed necessary. Shutoffs will continue through the end of the month. The shutoff schedule and affected streets is available online on the Village of Ilion's Facebook page. The Maynard Fire Department and Riverside Pools and Spa are banding together to help Barneveld Fire Department rebuild its firehouse, which collapsed this winter due to the heavy snow. Riverside has donated a luxury outdoor grill valued at over $10,000 for a raffle. Tickets are $10 each and can be purchased at Riverside Pools and Spa, the Maynard Fire Department, and Foothills Mercantile. All proceeds benefit Barneveld FD's quest to help rebuild their firehouse. You can see a photo of that fantastic grill, learn how to purchase tickets, and read more about the fundraiser on WIBX950.com. A new report claims only a fourth of sunscreens on U.S. shelves are safe and effective. According to the Environmental Working Group, the majority of sunscreens do not protect against UVA and UVB rays and may also contain hazardous chemical ingredients. Among recommended brands include Solara Sun Care, True Botanicals, Attitude, Think Baby, Crunchy, Think Sport, and Happy Ocean. The full list of recommended brands based on recreational activity or for kids and babies are available on the 2025 sunscreen guide list on EWG.org. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is reacting after President Trump announced construction will continue on the offshore wind farm Empire Wind 1. The governor says she knew the critical project that will create thousands of jobs and power hundreds of thousands of homes needed to move forward after the Trump administration issued a stop work order on April 16th. The governor says the Department of Interior's order has been lifted after countless conversations with White House officials. She thanked the president for working with her to save 1,500 good-paying jobs, adding New York's future is powered by good, clean energy. And nearly 500 million teenagers will be obese or overweight by 2030. That's according to a new report by The Lancet, which found those numbers have jumped significantly since 2015 by nearly 150 million people. The trend will put millions at risk of preventable illness and death, and the study's authors warn this is at a tipping point in the health of young people. Your WIBX news time is 7:08. Here's your Weather Center forecast brought to you by John's Mobile Home Parts and Accessories in Oriskany Falls. For all your mobile home needs, it's worth the trip. Visit johnsmobilehomeparts.com for more info.
More showers on the way. Thunderstorms in the forecast, but we don't think severe weather. Low pressure is going to transfer its energy to the coast, and doesn't mean much for us except more showers. Scattered showers coming in midday into the afternoon from west to east today, 58. Tonight, 44. Occasional rain. Rain breezy tomorrow, 50. More rain possible Friday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stachik, WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Currently 49 degrees and cloudy. Let's take a look at sports. Brought to you by the IBEW 43 local sports desk. The Mets, they were shut out by the Red Sox 2-0 at Fenway Park. Oh, now we have another person dancing in the studio. Clay Holmes suffered the loss after allowing 2 runs on 4 hits and 3 walks. Thank you, Tim Reed. New York has dropped 3 in a row and 5 of its last 6. Entering tonight's series finale against Boston, Keeler and I will still be rooting for them. The Mets are second in the NL East. The Yankees, they took down the Rangers 5-2 from the Bronx. Ben Rice slugged his 10th home run of the season, and Aaron Judge went deep with his 16th blast of the year. New York has won back-to-back games in 4 of its last 5. The Yanks, they lead the AL East. They continue their game series against Texas tonight. The Panthers, they're off to a terrific start in the Eastern Conference Final. The team wiped out the Hurricanes 5-2 in Game 1. They now host Game 2 of the best-of-7 series on Thursday. Elsewhere, the Stars and the Oilers start the Western Conference Final tonight. NFL stars will be able to represent their nations at the next Summer Olympics. During the league's spring meeting in Minneapolis, owners unanimously approved a proposal for players to participate in flag football at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. The league still needs to negotiate with the Players Association, Olympic officials, and national governing bodies on the specifics. The annual spring meeting continues today with a vote expected to be taken that could ban the tush push. Philadelphia and Buffalo run the improvised quarterback sneak with the highest success rates in the league. The Giants' rookie running back Cam Scatterboo has revealed the reason for selecting his jersey number. Scatterboo said he originally wanted to wear number 4, but that was retired for a Hall of Fame running back Tuffy Lemons. He decided to choose another number 44 because it's a number that he and his brother have worn in the past. The NBA's conference finals are underway. The West's top-seeded Thunder toppled the Timberwolves 114-88 in Game 1 in the best-of-7 series. They now grabbed a 1-0 series lead. The action, it continues tonight with the Eastern Conference Finals tipping off in New York with the Knicks playing host to the Pacers at Madison Square Garden. And Caitlin Clark, she continues to draw more eyes towards women's basketball. Last Saturday's season opener between the Fever and the Chicago Sky drew an average of 2.7 million viewers on ABC, making it the most watched WNBA regular season game in 25 years. The game peaked at a little over 3 million viewers, which trails only last year's All-Star game as the largest average audience of any event. Your WIBX News Time, 7:11, 49 degrees under cloudy skies. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Okay, a couple things to get to here. First of all, if you're looking for home improvements on your wish list, things that you plan to do, like new windows, siding, or bathroom remodel, think about New York Sash. It makes it easy with flexible financing options. They understand that upgrading your home is a big investment, which is why they offer a range of financing programs with low monthly payments, competitive interest rates, and plans to fit your budget. You can get pre-approved quickly and easily with no impact to your credit score. A soft credit pull means you can explore your options without having a ding on your credit. The team at New York Sash will walk you through everything, design, details, and payment plans, and they just do a tremendous job backing up their product 100%. Visit the New York. In fact, if your window breaks, a baseball or whatever goes through it, a squirrel, raindrops, they'll replace the window. It's a lifetime guarantee. New York Sash Idea and Design Center in Whitesboro, or you can go online at newyorksash.com. You can look for your pre-approval process by calling 315-624-7344 for New York Sash. All right, Tim Reed is our guest host in here this morning. We talked a little bit about VVS, Central School District, yesterday, the school budget votes. I know for those interested, Rome and Utica both passed. VVS, this is where it gets tricky. VVS passed, but not by a 60% margin. They needed that because they were going over the tax cap. And just to get through the details of what all this means and what happens next, we're bringing in SF. This is Rick Timms, my father-in-law, from SSFC and RG Timms Inc. They deal in education financing. And former, by the way, superintendent of schools at Oriskany back in the day. When I first met my wife, and I will only say the ladies in the office would listen, and my wife was on the radio at the time, so those were fun days. Let me bring in...
and yet you still got married.
Yet they still allowed it. Bring in my father-in-law, Rick Timms. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm still in therapy.
Yes, it just hasn't ended. It just has not ended. All right, so... here you are. You have a district budget that passes, but it doesn't because of the tax cap. And explain that.
Well, when every school district is required to do a tax cap calculation, and in the tax cap calculation, it basically takes into account debt service. It takes into account any pilot agreements, payments in lieu of taxes, things like this, as well as capital expenditures. But there's an inflation factor in it. And there's also basically taking a look at tax values inside the school district. Once that calculation is done, the district only needs a simple majority to approve a school district budget offered to the voters that comes up to that tax cap level for increasing the taxes or the tax levy. If a district needs more money to operate due to certain circumstances and needs to exceed the cap, it needs a supermajority to pass the budget. So technically, the budget can't pass if you're exceeding the tax cap unless there's a supermajority of voters that approve that tax levy.
So VVS budget passed, but not by a 60% margin, which means the budget fails.
Actually, what happens is they got 50%, so it didn't pass. The budget doesn't pass unless whatever's offered passes at a supermajority in this case.
What happens next here?
Well, they've got a couple of options. One is they could go and go back out to the voters. They're only allowed to go back out to the voters one more time. It'll be mid-June. And what will happen is they could actually lower that levy and ask for approval again. But it could still exceed the cap. It could be at the cap or lower than the cap. So that's one option. The second option is it could, offer a budget at the cap and then a separate proposition, which would still, if it sends them over the cap, the separate proposition, including the budget they offer, they still need a supermajority. Or they could go to what's known as a contingency budget, whereby certain things are restricted within the school district's preview. For instance, the school district's not allowed to buy equipment, as an example. So it couldn't buy like a lawnmower if it goes to a contingent budget. It can't, have the public use school grounds or buildings. If there's any cost, it would have to charge for the cost, that type of thing. So there are certain restrictions. But the problem you've got is when you go to a contingent budget, basically you're stuck with the budget you had the previous year. Therefore, the district is denied any increase in revenue, probably making the financial situation a little more complicated and harder to reach any real good conclusion.
Probably more difficult next year to try to put together a good budget.
Your tax cap calculation starts off where you left off. And if you left off where you were 2 years ago, obviously you've got a problem.
We're hearing people talk about insurance. There's been a miscalculation for a lot of school districts when it comes to insurance. What do you know about that?
Well, I don't think there's any miscalculation. I think what it is that the cost of insurance is escalating rapidly.
Yep.
And there's a number of reasons for that. First of all, we're coming off a series of COVID years whereby most people didn't use a lot of insurance, we'll say, during COVID. They stayed home. Nobody went to the doctor, got doctor visits and things like this.
Yep.
But after COVID, everybody started getting their knees replaced, their hips replaced. They got new glasses. They got their teeth fixed. They did their colonoscomies, mammograms, their wellness checks. All of a sudden, there's a lot of push against insurance consortia, which all these school districts belong to in many cases, or they may be self-insured. And so what happens is sometimes rates were not keeping up with the pressure on these insurance consortia. But it's not just related to that. A lot of things have gone up since COVID. I mean, I think everybody realizes it. So pension costs have gone up, for instance, in school districts. So these things here, they try and run schools like a business, but at the same time, it's filled with people. I mean, they're not like factories filled with machines. And so there's raises, there's pensions and things like this that have to be done. The other thing people have to keep in mind is that school districts actually are competing for labor among and between each other. So that tends to escalate costs, and they have no choice in that. It's hard to find and replace physics teachers, for instance. It's hard to get, we'll say, a business official. It's hard to get certain groups like special needs teachers and things like this, foreign language. So this helps drive costs up. So there's a myriad of things, including insurance, we'll say, in this region in some cases. Not all cases, but some.
You want to add something?
No.
You good? I would ask only not a good night if you're a superintendent of schools for say for instance at VVS. The vote goes down. Not a good night. Realizing that immediately they got to go to work today.
Well, that's it. Well, they'd have to go to work anyway, but they got to go to work trying to figure out how to get this budget passed, right, or a budget passed, and with as least amount of damage as they can to the finances of the district. What people fail, I think, to realize in many cases about finances is whatever is going on now is going to affect what's going on later.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, so the truth of it is the better they can come out at the end of this, we'll say maybe with another vote in June, the better they will be. Probably not as good as if they had passed this with a 60% majority, but better than probably a contingent budget. I think we try and stay away from contingent budgets as much as possible.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm sure there'll be a public outreach and things like this to try and see if they can garner some support.
Okay, we appreciate the update. Thank you, and have a great day. All right.
You too. Take care. Thanks.
Dr. Rick Timms, SFFC, and RG Timms, Inc., on what they're facing at VVS going forward. Let me keep going, and then I'll take a break. I love speaking with our next guest, Roseanne Leparco, Master Gardener with Cornell Cooperative Extension. And I got to tell you, first of all, we're out covering plants, which I know we probably shouldn't have put out anyway. But you're out covering plants or whatever. And here we are, Memorial Day weekend, where traditionally people are out getting their plants and getting ready to put things in the ground. And look at this weather, Roseanne. It's terrible.
A nor'easter of all.
A nor'easter. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Well, you know what it is Memorial Day is early this year. So that's got everybody thrown off. I know that's usually the planting time, but this couldn't be the worst time to plant because you got young plants. They're not going to be able to handle the amount of rain they're talking about. Plus, you got the wind, which is, it's like a double whammy for these young plants. So I don't think there's going to be people planting till maybe Monday. Mm-hmm. And then next week is looking nice, and I think if you can get past this nor'easter, if you've got your plants, you really need to protect them. I would definitely not plant them. I mean, I'm a guilty party. I've got a garage full of plants. As a master gardener, I have no willpower. I think I need therapy when I go to a greenhouse. So I have plants ready to go, and my containers are inside. They've been inside, and I think that's the other thing people need to be concerned about. If you do have your containers or your plants inside for multiple days, the light in a porch or the light in a garage is not the same as the light outside. Yeah. So once you do get them outside, kind of wean them outside into the sun, because otherwise you're going to see some burning or yellowing foliage. So just be careful getting them outside.
All right, so I would ask you, one of the things that is thriving, first of all, our lawns are. I saw a woman with this. If I wasn't on my way to the county executive's State of the County yesterday, I would have stopped and tried to figure out a way to help this woman. She's pushing this tiny little lawnmower, and the grass had to be well over a foot high.
Yeah.
And this tiny thing, and I'm looking at the first of all, the lawnmower is not going to be able to handle it. And I'm looking at the aftermath, the wake behind. It just was. Yeah. It looked like you could have taken bales of hay out of her front yard. Weeds are growing out of control, and because it's not been good weather to be able to get out and take care of them, a lot of people like me are very much behind. So I'm asking you about this. First of all, the weeds, if you can talk about that. And then I have let's start with that, because I have some quick weed questions that are driving me nuts.
Okay. Weeds are tough.
Weeds are tough.
I mean, they are tough plants. They figure out how to grow, despite you might not even be able to grow anything, like cracks and stones, in between stones and pavers. So go ahead. I'll try to answer your question. Weeds are probably the most difficult, I think, the most difficult garden question to take care of.
So you have is it an annual that comes up year after year?
Yeah, there's annual weeds, and there's perennial weeds, and there's also weeds. You got to remember that some weeds are actively growing in the spring.
Yeah.
And some of them don't start to actively grow until late summer and fall. Okay. So understanding the type of weed you have is critical to figuring out, if you do choose to use weed control.
So
it's a timing thing and knowing the type of weed you have.
So my wife, we have these they grow tall, they have the long stalk, and they have the orange blossom. They're prevalent in the area. The flowers, we're talking about flowers. That we planted, and it's where my weed problem comes in is inside the roots inside the plant. If you have a cluster of flowers that you want to keep, there you have all these weeds growing out of control. I feel like let's dig everything up and start over. What is the solution?
Sometimes if it gets that bad, that is the solution, because to kill the weed and get to the root, you're going to kill the good plant at the same time. So unfortunately, if you get into that problem, you're talking about potentially starting over or doing the best you can to get in there, because, I mean, the game plan is to try to get the root out so that you're eliminating the weed completely. But when it becomes integrated with a good plant, it becomes very difficult. I have that problem myself. I was out yesterday in a little space that I have. I have a woodland garden that has some hostas and some other shade-loving plants, and you get these notorious weeds in there, and unfortunately the option is
dig it up.
I was on my hands and knees trying yesterday to dig them out, and when they're in good plants, the chances are you don't get the whole root, and so you're in there removing them. This is the perfect weather for weeds. It's really going to be, typically I would have had those weeds out, because that's the other thing with weeds. If
catch
you
them early.
Get them when they're early, when they're first coming up, the root is not as intense, and so you'll have a better chance of getting it out. But if you can't get out there like this weather, it's going to make it difficult.
Yeah, absolutely is. All right. Well, to be continued. I want to talk. I have more weed questions for you next week. We'll see what
I'll do my homework on weeds, because they are difficult. I gotta say,
it's that. Those crab type things that keep growing, and then they get inside stuff, and they have little vines, and they are dry. They've taken over a whole area of our backyard. They're brutal, invasive. I believe they would be
very much. And the other thing with weeds is if you have an area where you could maybe solarize, where you could remember weeds have to have light to grow. So there's a way you can block it out for a season, with maybe black plastic or cardboard. If you can eliminate that light source, that'll help too.
All right. Good stuff, Roseanne. We'll speak next week. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Thanks. Have a great week. Roseanne Loparco, Master Gardener at Cornell Cooperative Extension. I'm going to keep going, Davey. No, look, don't you. I'll let Tim do the introduction.
So who we have on the phone is Dr. Dan Welkons. He is with AMP Urology, and he is he's my urologist.
Dan, doctor, good morning. Thanks so much for coming on.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
So I would love, if we could, to talk a little bit about prostate cancer and obviously with the news from President Biden. Your assessment, obviously I realize you're getting everything like the rest of us are secondhand, but what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting a lot of questions from patients, very concerned, and it kind of brings prostate cancer to the forefront of, what's going on with men's health. And I think there's a lot of surprise that, a president of the United States could kind of be diagnosed with an advanced stage cancer that maybe, is something we promote screening for and monitoring. And so I think there's a lot of surprise and also a lot of concern. And I think most men that I see, regardless of their political affiliation, sort of feel that this is an important topic after seeing, this news,
So I spoke with someone recently who said, I had my final colonoscopy, not mentioning the PSA test, but I'm assuming it's the same thing. Final colonoscopy because I'm 70. My doctor told me I don't have to have it again. I don't have to do the prostate test anymore. I am done. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I think that's bringing this up, too, is that, the United States Preventative Task Force, which is kind of a panel of experts in the country that makes recommendations about screening, said, after 70 or 75, you don't need to screen for prostate cancer anymore. There are factors that can kind of, change that, but in general, men after 75 really are not always being screened for prostate cancer, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I think, like you guys might have seen in the news, the last time President Biden was tested for PSA was back in 2014, and so he was 71 at that time. And since that time, there was really no other screening. And in general, the thought behind that is most prostate cancers are going to be slow growing, and they're not going to grow quickly or metastasize or essentially be a clinically significant issue after the age of 75. However, this is the perfect example of how it can be, because he essentially presented, I guess, with a nodule in his prostate and some urinary issues, and lo and behold, they did some imaging studies and found it has metastasized to his bone.
And it takes quite some time to get to that point, right?
Absolutely. So it's usually, in most cases, there are, there's always these rare scenarios where a cancer spreads very quickly. Also, we don't know the data on this, but some of these cancers of the prostate do not express a lot of PSA, which is kind of terrifying. So people can show up with a low or age-appropriate PSA, but actually have metastatic cancer.
Okay.
So.
Wow. So,
but he had a Gleason score of a 9 out of 10, which is
this is
not
high,
good.
Which is high, and you would think, you said it, depending on certain circumstances and conditions, one would think being vice president and then president of the United States might be a circumstance.
That could be important.
I would think.
Yeah. I mean, the way I usually counsel people is if I think, if someone's in pretty good health, or I think, because different people, some people are 75 and look amazing, and some people are 75 and look like they're 110, so you kind of have to age adjust things a little bit. But I agree with you. I think the first surprise is you would think someone in that position would kind of have a battery of tests regardless of recommendation just because of how important they are.
Just shocks. It's shocking, I think, for well, listen, I got to tell you, we're in an era where shocking isn't so shocking, it seems, these days.
Shocking is normal.
What is the message to, by the way, I'm about to, my family doctor has scheduled my PSA. Listen, tell me, Because I was told it's 3 weeks with no monkey business, if you will, is how I think he might have said hanky-panky. I'm not sure how he described it, but it never used to be that long. It used to be like 3 days. Now it's 3 weeks. Can you talk about that?
I think, there's different recommendations for that. In general, for most people, it's not going to affect the PSA level. But for some, we might see that it does. I think, 3 weeks is probably on the longer end of things. I usually counsel patients about a week or 10 days.
Okay.
But you're going to hear various things. And also, different people have different sort of responses. And so PSA can be elevated in some people and not, regardless of hanky-panky.
Right.
It's a medical term.
It was a very medical
That's
term.
why I became a doctor.
Tim and I have Real Men Get Tested for Cancer, and it was both inspired for both of us by a bout, and now me a second bout with cancer. So it is important to get tested, and if you could, there's this belief that finding out is more traumatic. As my wife said last night, that's because these are men. Women could handle it, men can't. Finding out that you have prostate cancer and being told, but don't worry about it, it's slow moving, you'll outlive this, can be so traumatic on some people that it has a negative effect. That is a theory. I'd love your opinion on it.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and clinically, I see it all the time in that, not for everybody, but I think, men in general, there's a reason why single men do not live as long as married men, because, I think in general, men tend to maybe, and this is just a generalization, maybe don't think about their testing and their health, their organization of that in ways that some women do, and I think that in general you're going to see a lot of men almost not want to know,
right.
and I hear that from them all the time, is they'd rather not know because of just the mental load and the quality of life issues that might come after that. But that's why I think what Real Men Get Tested is so important, because it kind of puts it out there that maybe men might ignore that, but it's so important because these cancers, if like you already mentioned, is this probably was most likely was growing for a while in Joe Biden. If these cancers are found early, in a lot of cases, it's treatable.
Right.
And so that's why it's so key. Real Men Get Tested, any sort of initiatives to really sort of put it out there that maybe you haven't been focusing on this, but it's important, is really great for the community.
Finally, I do want to ask you a question from a listener who's saying, is there a chance that this over the years had spread to Biden's brain? That is because we've seen a decline in him, especially over the last 2 years. Does prostate cancer spread that way?
It can in very rare circumstances. And in general, though, when you have a metastasis to the brain, you're usually seeing maybe not just because, there's concerns maybe of his cognitive status, but maybe neurologic issues. And I would think that would be, recognized quite early. Conspiracy theories aside, I think that in general, this is the issue with prostate cancer, is that it's usually asymptomatic, even when it's metastasized. So a lot of guys we're counseling say, wait a minute, you just told me I have prostate cancer. I feel totally fine.
Yeah.
How can that be? And I usually tell them, if you have prostate cancer and you have symptoms, we're in trouble, because by the time you're symptomatic, it's really pretty far advanced. And even in President Biden, I suspect he was asymptomatic, even
despite everything
before this. So.
What is what is the treatment if it's caught early? Is it a wait and see? Is it what do you do?
I think it depends on the Gleason score. Like Tim already mentioned, this was a Gleason 9, very aggressive. We would never sit and wait on that. But you can have, Gleason 6, 7, those two cancers. Sometimes we're kind of evaluating how much cancer is there, what is the, longevity of the individual patient, other factors that might contribute, and should we just watch this and see if it gets worse? Because a lot of cancers, in that Gleason 6 or Gleason 7 category might not actually need definitive treatment. And the issue with treatment is there's side effects, right? And that's why men are so scared in a lot of ways to have treatment, is because there could be, urinary side effects, like leaking urine, or sexual side effects. And those things are really, scary to a lot of men. And that's the problem, is the treatment can sometimes be worse than the disease itself, but not always. So it's just a continuum, and it takes a lot of, getting information. I kind of feel like a detective, trying to, every case is a little different, and trying to get all these clues, and then together try and formulate the best plan.
Doc, we really appreciate you coming on today. I think this, while it's certainly no one wants to, I don't care what party you're in, no one wants to see someone go through what Biden is going through, and really what he's gone through in the last couple of years. It really stresses the point, get tested.
Yep. Dan, I just got to say, I was diagnosed and treated like over 6 years ago. And I don't think I've ever said this to you or whatever it is, but I just think about if I hadn't taken care of it. And, thank you for potentially saving my life. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you saying that, Tim. Thanks, guys.
Dan, thank you so much. Dr. Welkons, thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You do the same. Pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's a bond and a connection that you will have for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
I have the same feelings as well out there. So, all right, we're going to break here. The message is,
real men get tested for cancer.
There you go.
There you go.
Coming up, we'll do Helbika's free money question of the day, and then we'll do speak with Assemblyman Ken Blankenbush on his reaction to the state budget that came out last week. And Davey, we're looking at $200 on the line here this morning. What do you think for what do you think for a caller number? You want to go all in? 5. All right, he's busy. He's really brushing me off.
Yeah.
5. Fifth caller right now, 315-736-0186 at WIBX.
This station is brought to you by John's Mobile Home Parts and Accessories in Oriskany Falls. For all your mobile home needs, it's worth the trip. Visit johnsmobilehomeparts.com for more info.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business, selling, leasing, and servicing Canon and Kyocera devices, as well as FP mailing solutions. An important part of BME's culture is supporting the communities they're fortunate to work in, and BME recognizes that support is one reason for their success. The future of business in BME's area is encouraging, and the company is grateful to be a part of that growth. Call BME Company at 315-574-8200 or visit BMEcompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions. Made simple.
Hi, my name is Pete Donahue. I've been a school bus driver for Whitesboro for 18 years. What I like best about the job is to get the kids to school every day. I see their smiling faces every single morning. I also like the fact that when I get to drive the school bus, I'm kind of like my own boss, and I get to do the safety with the kids on and off the bus. And I like the time off that I get driving the school bus. You get the summers off. And Andy Kirk is like the best boss ever, and he's really good to the employees. The number is 315-768-9740.
Looking for an insurance agency that treats you like family? Look no further than WB Payne Insurance, a family-owned and operated agency serving the community for over 65 years. At WB Payne Insurance, they understand that family comes first, and they're here to protect what matters most to you. Whether it's your home, your car, or your business, they've got you covered. WB Payne Insurance. Learn more or get a quote today by visiting WBPayneco.com. WB Payne Insurance, protecting your family like it's their own, with smart solutions to save you money.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio. And from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela. Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything. But while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
Memorial Day savings are here, and that means time to upgrade for summer. Adirondack Home Furniture is overstocked in every department, so come take advantage of their amazing deals on sofas, dining sets, bedrooms, outdoor poly furniture, and more. Right now, take advantage of their lowest prices of the year on select items, or 4 years, 0% interest financing. Adirondack Home Furniture has a large line of quality USA-made furniture from top manufacturers. Something for every room, any size, inside and out. From modern to farmhouse, rustic to transitional, with free local delivery and a professional, knowledgeable staff, you'll have your dream home in no time. Plus, salespeople are non-commissioned, so you'll enjoy a relaxing, no-pressure experience. Celebrate Memorial Day and save big at Adirondack Home Furniture for living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, home office, and patio at their lowest prices of the year. Adirondack Home Furniture, Riverside Center in North Utica, or at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com.
Scott and Jill here from New York Sash. Business is booming, and we need more hands on deck.
That's right. We're looking for experienced installers, windows, siding, baths. If you know your way around a job site, we want to hear from you.
At New York Sash, we take pride in every project we complete because quality craftsmanship is what we're known for, and that's all thanks to our incredible team.
And when you're part of our team, you're family. That means great pay, steady year-round work, and a company that treats you right.
We offer serious perks like company-provided tools, uniforms, continuing education, paid time off, and 401k.
And that's on top of health benefits, advancement opportunities, and a supportive environment where you and your skills are valued.
Ready to take your career to the next level? Stop in or apply online at newyorksash.com/jobs.
Our New York Sash team has over 750 five-star reviews. It's more than a job. It's a career you can be proud of. Join the installation team at New York Sash.
Mattress Express is proud to announce we have added Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta Eye Comfort, and Avocado, the big online brand, to our lineup in all of our stores. Go to mattressexpressny.com or call 1-800-NEW-BED.
Ferris Commercial Mowers set the bar with racing-inspired patented full suspension and integrated cutting decks so you can go faster, cut better, and not get beat up. Ferris Experience Suspension. Take advantage of the best financing and prices of the year. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power in power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
Well, I'm just going to come back, Davey. I don't know what the hell's going on. It was supposed to play, but it didn't play. Tim Reed in studio here this morning, our guest host here this morning. It's time for Obika's free money question of the day on WIBX. Bob is in Whitesboro. Robert, good morning.
William, good morning.
Here we go. This is it's almost like like we're sitting there and there's a game of chess in front of us.
And you're playing checkers.
That's right. I, of course, am the mental midget in this equation. Yeah. Okay, Bob. This is Obika's free money question of the day. Joseph and Andrew Obika. Joseph, who is celebrating the passage of their school budget yesterday. Obika Law Firm, for your legal needs, call 315-724-1600. And here is your question. You're going to have 7 seconds to answer. Give a guess if you need to. This was just in the news. In 2024, Olivia was the most popular female name in America. What was the most popular male name? Ready, go. I hear a keyboard in the background.
Uh-oh.
Steven. Was it Steven? Actually, believe it or not, those names are gone. Steven... Bob,
Tom,
Bill,
Tim. They're gone.
We like names like, I don't know, Tree these days. The number one male name of 2024 was Liam. I do not know a single kid named Liam. I'll have to ask my wife because she's at the first line of, I don't want to say defense, but she'll get him first. Liam is the name. I gotta say, you have a really fast
He's
keyboard
working
type.
good.
You can type fast. I wish I had that ability.
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask a Cheers question, actually.
So it's funny because, please, I would suggest, and I have this, people talk to me all the time when I run into people. It's like, I thought you were going to go down this road. You try to get into my mind. Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, it's a dark, sad place.
Although, Bob, I got to tell you, I loved Cheers and I loved George Wendt. I thought he was so funny. And that one time where he came in and who was the bartender? It was not the taller one, the bartender.
Ted Danson.
So Ted Danson's like, hey, whatever his name was on Cheers. And he's like, you know what I love? Yeah. And Ted Danson said, beer. And his answer was, yeah, I think I will. Great bit. In Cheers. All right, stand by. We're going to give you, if you've ever thought about playing some classic pinball, cruise in, or you like classic cars, they hold a cruise in to Two Cousins Pinball, 9360 River Road, Marcy. It is tonight from 5:30 till 9:30. Weather and listen, you can go inside and play the pinballs if you'd like. We have a pair of tickets for that. Music by the singing DJ, Sal Stokes. That's tonight, plus the all-in-one food and fun card from Aquavino or Taylor and the Cook, Babes, the list goes on. Stand by, Davey's going to hook you up.
Thank you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Have a great day. He's all yours, Davey. And let me go to Assemblyman Ken Blankenbush right now from I had it pulled up here, and of course I would lose it. It is don't tell me, it is the 117th Assembly District.
Oh.
There you go.
Good typing.
Assemblyman Blankenbush, good morning.
Good morning. And by the way, my granddaughter had a friend named Liam, so I knew Liam. And but my guess was Noah, so I would have lost.
Oh, it's
Noah's like
Noah's
number 2 or 3.
Yeah. Good try.
How about?
How we come up with these newfangled names, right?
That's old school. Just got to build an ark.
It's hard to get a lot older than that one.
I know.
All right. Speaking of old, this process of the budget this year just got really, really old. And your thoughts on the aftermath here?
Well, you're probably gonna know what I'm gonna say, but
we do.
The embracing of it.
We were wondering. We're gonna be like, oh,
how much?
Loves the budget.
How many flattering terms will he use?
There's just so much money. There's so much money, right?
Yeah, and it's 5 weeks late, and you're looking at again the governor and the speaker basically. Behind closed doors, trying to figure out, trying to agree with each other on a $254 billion budget.
Mm-hmm.
If I was going to give it a grade, this budget is absolutely an F.
Yeah.
And most of the arguments going back and forth between the governor and the speaker were policy issues, not necessarily money issues. The money issues should have been the main discussion here between the two. But when you take when you take a look at $254 billion, the highest in the state or ever in the history of New York, and then you consider adding Texas and Florida together, and it doesn't come up to $254 billion. You wonder where we're going to be spending that money.
Yeah.
And you know, there's some things in the budget that weren't of all that money. One of my disappointments that we were trying to do was put a little bit more of that money into our CHIPS funding. Now, that's the highways.
Yeah.
You know, when you take a look at what we give the MTA, which is the mass transportation in New York City, and by the way, I'm not saying they don't need help down there with that, so don't misunderstand me. But when you take a look at the money that they give down there compared to our highway people, our municipalities, our counties and stuff like that. Now, I know in the 117th district, I have bridges that are weight limited. I have roads that need for winter, going through the winter, our roads need work. And with the cost of labor and the cost of inflation going up, we were asking for a little bit more of that $254 billion to go into our infrastructure. And that, he gave a little bit. But take a look at, and by the way, when I say this, I don't want the Bills fans to get mad at me because I am a Bills fan. Yeah. But, when you put $3.4 million into the Bills, and then you take the theater district that they gave over $100 million of tax credits to keep Saturday Night Live in New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, when you take a look at some of that spending, and then you wonder, we got a little bit of a bump for our highways and our infrastructure. That was probably the biggest disappointment for the money issues. But
well, have you spent any time on the Thruway? Holy cow!
Yeah.
I mean, the roads are terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. I go from all the time. I come down the North Country into the Mohawk Valley, get on in Utica. Yeah. And that one highway there going in to get into the Thruway. You got to dodge the potholes.
Yeah.
Ken, is there any nervousness in regards to it? It appears that the federal government looks like it's going to be curtailing significant amounts of money towards blue states, and I think the Trump administration has made New York State as public enemy number one. So, I mean, is there a feeling there's even going to be more constraint in regards to what's going on?
There is talk. Actually, what I'm hearing is that we may be called back for a special session in September or October. I don't know how true that is. Rumors down here are going. So there is a concern. But the concern that I have is where is the state of New York going to make cuts?
Right.
And that's when they're talking about that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's who knows what's going to happen. President Trump's a negotiator. He makes deals. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But there is a big concern down here about what's going to happen, and my understanding is that they're talking about a special session in September.
Yeah.
But
so this really is to be continued. It's hard to believe, but it is. Yeah.
Correct.
All right.
But but some of the am I running out of time?
Well,
okay.
we got about a minute. Go ahead.
The other thing that I just want to hit before I leave, the policy issues that she put in this thing, and I'll talk about one. To give her the right to close 3 prisons, that is put in a budget. That bill should have come out. We should have been debating that bill and voting on it ourselves. And not only that, she has the right to close prisons and give our employees 90-day notice that they're losing their jobs. That's not right.
Yeah, and by the way, after destroying the prison system with their with their policy, do we trust them to be able to fix all of this? And the answer is absolutely no.
No. And then to say, we're going to hire 18-year-olds, but we're not going to allow them to have dealings with the prisoners or carry weapons. I mean,
it's crazy.
It's a joke. The whole thing is crazy.
We'll do it again, Ken. We appreciate your time.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Nice talking with you.
You have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Yep, you too.
All right, thanks so much. Ken Blankenbush, Assemblyman for New York.
Do you love yard sales? Then get ready for the world's largest yard sale. Why spend your whole weekend driving from sale to sale when you can find all the treasures in one epic spot? It's the world's largest yard sale, sponsored by the Potting Shed Antiques, featuring over 150 vendors in one place, packed with antiques, furniture, tools, name brand clothes, kids gear, toys, collectibles, and tons more. Skip the driving, skip the guessing. Park once, shop tons, and score big deals. The world's largest yard sale is Saturday, June 14th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds. Bring the family, bring your friends, bring your bags, and bring your treasure hunting spirit. The world's largest yard sale at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds, June 14th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. featuring the jazz sounds of the Dove Tones. Sponsored by the Potting Shed Antiques, John's Mobile Homes and Accessories, Standard Heating, Cooling, and Insulating, Clinton Tractor and Implement Company, and James Mitsubishi.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually in fact true. How would you like up to $2,000 of free windows? When I say $2,000 of free windows, I mean $2,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $2,000 to get $2,000 free. You just get $2,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of the restrictions are income-based. And you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home.
From the Stanley Theater Studios, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295DI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
Can House Republicans unite? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That remains in question the morning after President Trump went to the Capitol, urging them to approve what he calls one big, beautiful budget bill to fund his agenda and extend the 2017 tax cuts.
This bill will pass out of Rules Committee. Now, will it pass on the floor is another question.
GOP Congressman Ralph Norman tells Fox Business one resolved issue is SALT, the cap on state and local tax deductions for income tax returns that blue state Republicans demand be lifted from $10,000 now.
You know, they raised it to $40,000, and it's got a cost that's, as of now, has not been paid for.
Now, some Republicans keep pushing for more spending cuts in the bill. Democrats warn they'll slash key programs for taking health coverage and food assistance from some Americans. The bill would also fund President Trump's new defense system.
Once fully operational, President Trump says the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles fired from around the world or launched from space.
It's a pretty evil world out there, so this is something that goes a long way toward the survival of this great country.
He says the full project will total $175 billion and be operational in about 3 years.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, where President Trump will meet today with South Africa's president, and it could get tense. The U.S. has canceled aid to South Africa, expelled its ambassador, and then flew white minority South African refugees to the U.S., which led to this back and forth at a hearing yesterday between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Democratic Senator Tim Kaine.
You don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're coming.
I'm just asking you to say that that would be unacceptable.
Well, no,
that
I would say that the United States,
a very easy thing
the United
to say.
States has a right to pick and choose who they allow into the United States.
Even based on the color of somebody's skin.
You're the one that's talking about the color of their skin, not me. These are people whose farms were being burned down and they were killed because of the color of their skin.
Rubio has another hearing in the House today. Another escapee captured in Louisiana after Friday's jailbreak, but the manhunt continues for 5 more prisoners still on the run. America's listening to Fox News.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-973-9819. And you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9819. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9819 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-9819.
Two guys who took part in the 2021 Capitol riot, then had charges dropped when President Trump returned to the White House, are in trouble again. Zachary Jordan, who got a pardon after an 8-year sentence for his actions in the riot, arrested in Virginia on burglary charges accused of breaking into a home outside Richmond. The other rioter has been found guilty of another crime.
Taylor Toronto convicted of making a hoax bomb threat to a government building and illegally possessing guns and ammunition. The Navy veteran from Washington State who had his Capitol riot case dismissed by the Trump administration was arrested near former President Barack Obama's Washington, D.C. home in June of 2023. Investigators say he was found with 2 guns, roughly 500 rounds of ammunition, and a machete in his van. Prosecutors say he was live streaming, making threatening statements about Democrats, including the former president, and detailing an ominous, threatening plan to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, part of the U.S. Department of Commerce. Defense attorneys had argued he had no bomb-making materials and wasn't near the institute. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
There is a new vacancy on death row in Texas.
49-year-old Matthew Johnson received a lethal injection at the state penitentiary in Huntsville. He had doused 76-year-old gas station clerk Nancy Harris with lighter fluid and then set her ablaze during a robbery in Garland, Texas. Shortly before his demise, Johnson asked for forgiveness from the Harris family and apologized to his wife and children for what he did. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stocks could fall even more today. Dow futures down more than 300 points. In the NBA playoffs, a blowout to start the Western Conference Finals.
Foul, bucket, counted, and one.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the Oklahoma City Thunder, scoring 31 points in a 114-88 rout of the Minnesota Timberwolves on ESPN. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time is 8:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by Adirondack Home Furniture. 51 degrees and cloudy outside. Your full WIBX Weather Center forecast is coming up next. A teenager was injured in a motorcycle crash in Kirkland. According to the Oneida County Sheriff's Office, deputies were called to the area of Route 5 and Martin Drive after a motorcycle crashed into 2 mailboxes. Authorities say 19-year-old Levi learned of Eaton was driving at an unsafe speed when he lost control of his 2007 Suzuki GSXR, which exited the shoulder before striking the mailboxes. Learned was taken to Wynn Hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. It is unknown if Learned received any tickets or violations. There's some sad news to report on a woman who was struck by a vehicle in Baldwinsville. On Monday, 84-year-old Deborah Irwin was hit by a pickup truck on East Genesee Street and ended up being trapped underneath it. First responders were able to free Irwin and rush her to Upstate University Hospital, where she passed away from her injuries yesterday. The driver involved in the tragedy stayed at the scene and is cooperating with the ongoing investigation. A new poll has some good news for Congresswoman Elise Stefanik as she considers a run for governor. The Siena Research Institute says the 21st District Representative is the early leader among Republicans to be the party's nominee in 2026. Stefanik is leading both Congressman Mike Lawler and Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman in a hypothetical matchup. The poll did not reveal how Stefanik would do head-to-head against Governor Hochul. Cucumbers from 2 Florida companies are being recalled. The FDA and CDC are investigating salmonella infections linked to cucumbers grown by Bednar growers and distributed by Fresh Start Produce Sales. According to the FDA, 26 people in 15 states have been infected with salmonella, with 9 being hospitalized. Impacted states include California, New York, Colorado, and South Carolina. Restaurants, retailers, and distributors are recommended to notify customers of a possible health risk if potentially contaminated cucumbers were purchased between April 29th and May 19th. And Authentic Brands Group is purchasing Dockers in a 9-figure deal with Levi Strauss & Co. Levi Strauss, who created the khaki and chinos brand in the 1980s. Said its sale of Dockers had an initial value of $311 million, subject to customary adjustments and closing conditions. According to Levi Strauss, the purchase of the intellectual property and Dockers' U.S. and Canadian operations is anticipated to close in late July, followed by the rest of the brand's operations in January of next year. Authentic Brand Group's president said the company is committed to stewarding the brand into its next era of growth and relevance. Your WIBX News Time, 8:08. Here is your Weather Center forecast.
More showers on the way, thunderstorms in the forecast, but we don't think severe weather. Low pressure going to transfer its energy to the coast, and doesn't mean much for us except more showers. Scattered showers coming in midday into the afternoon from west to east today, 58. Tonight, 44. Occasional rain. Rain breezy tomorrow, 50. More rain possible Friday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajek, WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now, 51 degrees and cloudy. Let's take a look at sports. Brought to you by the IBEW 43 local sports desk. The Mets, they were shut out by the Red Sox 2-0 at Fenway Park. Clay Holmes, he suffered the loss after allowing 2 runs on 4 hits and 3 walks. New York has dropped 3 in a row and 5 of its last 6, entering tonight's series finale against Boston. The Mets, they're second in the NL East. The Yankees took down the Rangers 5-2 for the Bronx. Ben Rice slugged his 10th home run of the season, and Aaron Judge went deep with his 16th blast of the year. New York, they've won back-to-back games in 4 of its last 5. New York leads the AL East. They continue their 3-game series against Texas tonight. The Panthers, they're off to a terrific start in the Eastern Conference Final. The team wiped out the Hurricanes 5-2 in Game 1. The Panthers, they host Game 2 of the best-of-7 series on Thursday. Elsewhere, the Stars and the Oilers start the Western Conference Final tonight. NFL stars will be able to represent their nations at the next Summer Olympics. During the league's spring meeting in Minneapolis, owners unanimously approved a proposal for players to participate in flag football at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. The league still needs to negotiate with the Players Association, Olympic officials, and national governing bodies on the specifics. The annual spring meeting continues today with a vote expected to be taken that could ban the tush push. Philadelphia and Buffalo run the improvised quarterback sneak with the highest success rates in the league. Giants rookie running back Cam Scatterboo has revealed the reason for selecting his jersey number. Scatterboo has said that he originally wanted to wear number 4, but that was retired for Hall of Fame running back Tuffy Lemons. He decided to choose number 44 because it's a number that he and his brother have worn in the past. The NBA's conference finals are underway. The West top-seeded Thunder toppled the Timberwolves 114-88 in Game 1 of the best-of-7 series. They now grabbed a 1-0 series lead. The action continues tonight with the Eastern Conference Finals, tipping off in New York when the Knicks play host to the Indiana Pacers at Madison Square Garden. New York officials are warning New Yorkers to beware of scams, to only purchase tickets from trusted vendors and also at the venue site. Caitlin Clark continues to draw more eyes towards women's basketball. Last Saturday's season opener between the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky drew an average of 2.7 million viewers on ABC, making it the most watched WNBA regular season game in 25 years. The game peaked at a little over 3 million viewers, which trails only last year's All-Star game as the largest average audience for any event. Your WIBX News Time, 8:11, 51 degrees and cloudy outside. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
If you are in need of hardwood flooring, boy, do they have you covered at Insera's Flooring Outlet. We love it there because there's stuff that you probably have not seen in other people's houses, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
You buy all this, and it's like, this is going to be so unique, and then, I have that. We all have that.
Yeah.
That's
everyone's got that.
But it's just solid products that are good, perfect for your home, with a great variety. And then they have a hardwood sale going on. They have too much hardwood in their showroom, and they have to unload it this month. Now, until the end of the month. If you've been imagining how beautiful new hardwood floors will look in your home, now's the time. Get 50% off Premier Hallmark Alta Vista Oak Hardwood, just $325 a square foot. Another incredible deal is on Mohawk Radiant Oak Hardwood, only $3 a square foot. That's 50% savings during the hardwood blowout at Enceras. The incomparable beauty of white oak hardwood at 50% off, only $2.75 a square foot. It's the hardwood blowout now at Enceras through the end of the month with savings up to 50% off. Another reason more people buy from the big store. It's Enceras Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road in Marcy, and EncerasFlooringOutlet.com. We added the most beautiful hardwoods to our home, and all it has done is put on more restrictions on me. Do not go on that
You've
floor.
You've got a little area in the house.
With those shoes.
Like the cat.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Got a break coming up. 35 is too high. Hold on, I'm telling my wife. Let some out. Hold on, I'm having a problem. Let some out. It should be, I'm going to be in big trouble. Should be 32.
What are you talking? What weather? What are you?
Somehow we have her vehicle has a tire that is losing
tire
air.
pressure.
Yeah, and luckily we have a compressor that, but she's never used it before.
Okay,
so
I can imagine asking my wife to use a compressor.
She is using it right now.
That will not go well.
My wife has, and she knew where the little gauge is. To test it.
Yeah. That's good. She can have a summertime job working at.
My wife is pretty good. She's she gets through these things, and she said, "Is 35 good?" And it probably is, but just don't do 50 because it'll blow up in your face.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That'd be a problem.
I have like 30 seconds, Lucia, but I'm going to take you to say hi. I have 30 seconds. Good morning. Good morning, Lucia.
Oh, good morning. You're talking to me. I'm sorry. I thought you were waiting for your wife to answer.
Well, I am. Do you think she put 32 or 35 pounds in the tire?
I
think 32.
Is it 32? Yeah.
Yeah. I just said
it's just a guess. I'm not good at those things.
Yeah.
Do you? I don't even know how to do it.
Do you pump your own gas, Lucia?
No, I get somebody to do it.
Nice. Yeah. How do you do that? Do you go to the gas station and say, "Hey, will you pump my gas?"
Grab a homeless guy. Get over here.
I go and I tell the truth. I say, I'm not good at this. Can you help me?
Yeah, that's smart.
Oh, yeah, sure. And even some guy who's just pumping, they say, "Oh, I'll help you." Okay, thank you. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's a great way to do it. And that's why you use a different. Hold on, can I respond to my wife? She said, "Okay, 32."
32, yeah. How's your wife? I haven't seen her in a long time.
I'm saying yes, you do, which is a problem for me. She said, "I pay attention."
As opposed to others?
Yes, you do. As opposed to me.
That's nice.
Okay, Lucia, anything to add here this morning? Good morning.
Yeah.
No?
So I want to say something about the Pope. You asked me yesterday.
Yeah.
If I like the Pope, I have no reason not to. But the thing is, I think a Pope to stay out of politics. What do you think?
Absolutely not. I disagree. Considering the history of the Pope, let's not forget that the Pope at one point ran the world. What we knew of it.
Okay.
Listen, and in this case, the Pope may be able to bring peace between, that's what President Trump is suggesting, that Ukraine and Russia. Believe me, Putin is playing Trump like a fiddle at this point, and it's obvious. It's terrible. Just think about this, and you say, "What are you talking about? That's ridiculous." Really? There's a giant bombing of drones. The 12 hours before he's meeting with Trump. And then as soon as the meeting is over, there's another enormous bombing of drones. Do you think that's not a message that said, so maybe it is the Pope that could bring them together, but I don't think there's anything that will back that guy down unless it's strength and pain for Vladimir Putin.
You cannot talk him for a single split second, guys.
No. Bad guy.
Also, there are people that are onto him. We pray, right? But the Pope, yes, he could bring peace. And the Pope is a holy person. In the Pope, it should speak about, but it depends, because if he does one way or the other, then he can derail people, and people will run away from the church.
Well, that's already happening right now, because he's been, the belief is that he's somewhat critical of U.S. policy under Trump. So you're getting people that are like not liking the Pope. So now it's like, how do you feel about the Pope? Hold on, I'm going to predict. Do you like Trump or don't you? Okay. Oh, you don't like him. Then I feel you love the Pope. If you do like him, there's a good chance you're maybe having reservations right now about this Pope. So we're all very political in this world today. I mean, right down to the movies we watch and music we listen to. What do you think of what do you think? What do you think of what do you think of the boss? I mean, forget the Pope. What do you think of the boss, Bruce Springsteen?
Oh, I don't know much about Springsteen. I don't.
Born in the USA.
Oh, wait, what did he say? He said something against Trump.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did.
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't like Trump.
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of people love Trump. A lot of people like Biden, right? A lot of people don't.
That is true.
To Biden, by the way. Where is he? He's back in the bunker. Look at him. He ran the country.
Right.
He was never there.
Yeah, I knew I'd get her going.
I got you.
I got you going. I got you going.
I want to stay neutral, really.
Yes. Oh, yes.
The country is the bottom line. That's
all right.
it.
I've gone way over my minute, and you have a wonderful day, Lucia. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao, Lucia.
Ciao.
Coming up, we'll speak with County Executive Anthony Pacini on WIBX.
Hi, this is Kira Meelan. After almost a century in business, Meelan's Carpet One is known for many things. Our commitment to customers, for example. We go above and beyond to make your shopping experience exceptional from start to finish. We're also known for quality installation. Our experienced installers are like part of the family. They've been with us for years and they do an incredible job. But one thing everyone knows us for is Karastan area rugs and carpets. And this month is National Karastan Month. Karastan area rugs and carpets offer unmatched quality and timeless beauty for your home. Many of the choices available come with a lifetime stain warranty. And with the lowest prices of the season, no interest financing, and up to $1,000 in savings, National Karastan Month is the best time to invest in new carpet or area rugs. So this month, stop by Meelan's Carpet One on Old Commercial Drive in Yorkville, across from Joe Tahan's, where the good Meelan feeling means incredible savings and financing on Karastan area rugs and carpet.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds, through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Do you love yard sales? Then get ready for the world's largest yard sale. Why spend your whole weekend driving from sale to sale when you can find all the treasures in one epic spot? It's the world's largest yard sale, sponsored by the Potting Shed Antiques, featuring over 150 vendors in one place, packed with antiques, furniture, tools, name brand clothes, kids gear, toys, collectibles, and tons more. Skip the driving, skip the guessing. Park once, shop tons, and score big deals. The world's largest yard sale is Saturday, June 14th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds. Bring the family, bring your friends, bring your bags, and bring your treasure hunting spirit. The world's largest yard sale at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds, June 14th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. featuring the jazz sounds of the Dove Tones. Sponsored by the Potting Shed Antiques, John's Mobile Homes and Accessories, Standard Heating, Cooling, and Insulating, Clinton Tractor and Implement Company, and James Mitsubishi.
Hi, this is Brian Seville, CEO of the Good News Foundation. We are excited to introduce a new monthly program designed to provide support and help to our active service members and veterans called Veterans for Worship. This program recognizes the challenges service members and veterans face: stress, anxiety, pain, and difficulties of reintegration. Veterans for Worship offers a safe and uplifting program facilitated by a veteran and is exclusively for current service members and veterans seeking encouragement. Veterans for Worship incorporates faith that helps people like you find grounding, resilience, and strength, promoting healing and hope for the future. We are grateful for your service and believe you will find meaningful support and help. The group meets the third Wednesday of the month at the Good News Center. The program is free, confidential, and connects you with like-minded individuals who share similar experiences. Call the Good News Foundation today at 315-735-6210 to participate. Any active service member or veteran is welcome.
This is Shannon Bream. Join me for Fox News Sunday as we sit down with a diverse and dynamic group of guests featuring interviews with political, business, and public affairs newsmakers from the U.S. and abroad. All part of the Sunday political block from Fox News Radio. Fox News Sunday, every Sunday, right here on this station.
Fox News Sunday, airing 11 a.m. every Sunday, only on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
Okay, here we go. In studio is our guest host here this morning is Mr. Tim Reed. Good morning.
Good morning.
And the county executive, Anthony Pacenti. Now, if you want to be on the TV, I'd have to have you go over to that side. I'm going to have Davey, you help with his mic. I'm going to kill that one.
The way he's dressed, he should be on TV.
I want to apologize. Just moments ago, I had to leave the studio. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
Ever. I've never done this in the history of my entire career. But I just had a Daylight Donuts quad espresso.
Oh, good.
Because I have hit a wall. Oof.
Yeah?
Well, it's whatever sickness I had, and I don't want to tell you what I think I had. Now my doctor's saying what they think I had.
What? Ebola,
yeah. Flesh-eating disease. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Well,
yeah.
Fine.
You
led a good life.
When you start seeing my limbs fall off, you can call me Leper Bill. No, they're thinking.
Yeah.
After I was completely in belief that the symptoms, you don't want to hear it. They're thinking it was COVID.
No.
Yeah. I tested yesterday negative. And I tested the day before negative, but they believe it was COVID, which can run its course in about 5 days. My temperature broke on late Sunday night, and I've been temperature-free since then, so I'm cleared, by the way.
Oh, good. But I was with you on that on Friday. I was with you on that Friday. I'm going like, oh, good.
This is the only part I'm telling you is you were with me on Friday.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
So, and you know what? I want to, the county executive is here.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You've had COVID how many times?
5.
I'm just trying to keep up with you.
You're trying to catch up?
Yeah, I had, to this date, I had 4.
Yeah, no.
This would be 5.
This will be 5 if it is.
So, do you remember, this is what I'm going to say. Do you remember what it was like when you had COVID and you passed that moment where, all right, you don't have a temperature anymore, you're up and about, but there was that mid-morning, like you just hit a wall of exhaustion, and that's exactly what I'm feeling this week. So,
yeah, I think I saw that the last couple times. Unfortunately,
after 5
after
times.
5 times.
I must have been in the slow class. I only got it twice.
Oh yeah.
I just don't. Well, the funny part is you might have had it and not even known.
Not
Some
known
people
it.
are
Sure, you could
asymptomatic.
have had a fever for one day.
Davey is here to tell you right now.
I have never had COVID.
Oh, Davey.
Not yet.
Well, then you may never have it.
Right.
He's
have the antibody.
He's COVID free. So that's what I was told, and I'm like, I don't believe it. But
interesting.
Yeah. Turns out the symptoms, when you look back for the 2025 symptoms, because they're a little different right now, they did kind of match a little bit. So. Well, there's no worry because other than Tim, I saw no one through the whole process.
It's comforting.
Except for my wife.
I'm going home and checking myself.
But Tim, I'm just telling you.
Thank you. Thanks.
I don't believe
you're a good sheriff.
County Executive Anthony Piceni is in studio right now, and actually, I'd have to have you really come
on closer.
Even though he's been,
I think I'm negative.
I bet more.
Yeah, a little more. A little more.
Holy cow. We're really getting.
Now you're close.
Getting, you know
even though he's been exposed.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate all that.
Well, it's Wednesday.
On to number 6.
My wife will call you later.
I'm sure
she will.
And I believe you're immune at this point.
Yeah, I could be.
Although, what is it that people who keep, like us, who keep getting it?
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
It's been a while. So.
Yeah. Okay. Me
yeah,
too.
Maybe.
Anyway, I thought the State of the County address yesterday was, number one, you really were able to recap everything that has happened in the last 15 years, 14, whatever the number of years it is. And it is incredible when you think about all of the key things that had to happen. And despite Wolfspeed right now, it seems to be struggling in terms of their worldwide operation. That still is a viable spot.
It is.
And when Micron comes, you almost feel like that's going to give us a real potential boost. But with that, the hospital, the garage, Nexus, the Adirondack Bank Center, everything, which goes way back to DeMayo days, and with Griffiths. But the key to all of it seems to be to put it all together and come full circle is the Oneida deal.
Well, there's no question. I mean, and I know that some people think it gets overused, but it doesn't, because without that, and without being persistent, everybody forgets. I don't that I failed in my first attempt at that miserably, and to raise credit, and they were okay. Let's just pick up and try again, and we did, and look, we would not have been able to do the things we've done. Now, could some of it get done? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But it would have been at a greater cost for some people, and who knows what the taxpayers would have said about it.
One thing that wouldn't have happened is you would not have had the State of the County address at the Shenandoah Golf Club.
Yeah. That's true.
I just thought in looking at all of that, we've really placed ourselves in a position, and Lance and Lee, by the way, I'm not carrying his water. I'm admiring it.
Okay.
We are in a place where we can go so much further.
We can. And, when we talk about there's still people today that, when I talk to business people, local people that don't understand the complexity or the benefits of the Oneida deal.
Yeah.
And how much money that really generates and what that means, in terms of our budget. I mean, it's just
well,
amazing.
Without it, you're talking about tax increases.
Yeah, exactly. You are. I mean, and the revenue growth, but the other thing was the beauty of the deal in terms of the percentage growth that we negotiated.
It was
made it work.
It was a civil war that had to end.
It was. Well, it wasn't. And it shouldn't have been. It should not have been.
Terrible.
And it should not have been. It should have ended a long time
This is, I think, putting all of the pieces together is where this year 2025. I think this address has been able to really look at all of the accomplishments and all the things that are happening, and put it all together, and then and really allow you to focus on moving forward
and throwing out a few other things. And obviously,
Chobani is now.
Chobani is I mean, Chobani is really the all captured piece of or another. I'm not even going to say a final piece of the puzzle, but just like that large piece, the missing piece that kind of brings it together, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In that regard. So, looking at that and looking at the other, the rest of the agenda we put forth, I think it really outlines, where we are and where we've been. And I still say it, and I've said it all along. There's not a county in upstate New York that can boast the growth that we have had.
Yeah.
And equal to our size and scope. And you can do the math on the bigger counties, the Onondagas, the Eries, the Monroes, et cetera. But, and look at what they've been able to accomplish, with a much larger tax base,
right.
Much larger population, much larger infrastructure in terms of what, is there. I mean, when you have, when you got Erie County, you got the Buffalo Bills and you got all the other pieces there. But to look at what we've been able to accomplish, I think it's pretty I think it's pretty amazing.
I completely agree. So I want to get in one of the issues, and we'll talk about the sports complex idea, which is...
you didn't see that coming, did you?
Did not see that coming.
Did you?
Okay. He always has to have one of those.
If I were to I saw coming.
Yeah. You saw that coming.
And you prefaced it during the speech by saying, if you're familiar with these speeches, I usually throw out something.
Yeah,
okay. There was a story last night on NBC News about a place called Bentonville, Arkansas, which was struggling. Did you see this?
Well, no, I didn't. You told me about it.
Okay, so let me tell you, but it's worth digging into because so they're a community that was struggling.
Wasn't that Walmart? Isn't that where?
That's where they have Walmart that's come in. They have all of these other different industries that have come in there, and it's to the point where they did not keep up with housing. So the average, now this is probably more middle class than we are. Mm-hmm. The average home property value is $580,000. The school district is having a difficulty hiring because they're receiving, I don't know, the school is getting like 500 more students every year. Mm-hmm. So they're needing more teachers, but teachers can't afford to live there. Mm-hmm. So what they did is came up with a program where they're building housing, people who get into that housing, and it's affordable, but it's not affordable. These are for middle-class people. Sure. But if you stay for so long, you end up, there's somehow a kickback of like $50,000 to then go on and buy a home and invest as they continue to build. So it's a unique, really a unique strategy, but I think they left themselves in a vulnerable position. They didn't take care of housing quickly enough.
Right.
And that's where you're at right now.
Yeah, we are. And that's a big piece. And that, I talked about yesterday as well, the barriers to employment obviously are housing and daycare, childcare. And so we are focused very heavily on those two areas. And knowing that, and even before Chobani, we knew we had the deal because we started the housing study even before Chobani was on the map about locating here and building such a large plant. But looking at that, and Tim knows this, serving on the IDA, that is, one of the big pieces that we have to look at as to how to incentivize, multiple units. And I talked about that yesterday, not talking about just one home. And that's something we can talk about, on the county end, but on the bigger picture end about how we do more of what like Air City Lofts, but how do we incentivize that? How do we incentivize more development with multiple units in a plot of land? And I think that's a good problem to have. And,
it is.
I think that the marketplace is ready for that and looking for that.
Well, along Clinton Road, they built those. I guess they'd be condos.
You know,
those are, by the way, it's not cheap to live there.
No.
And I believe they're sold out.
And I think, I went to the...
And building more, by the way.
I went to the housing study that was a month or two ago or whatever it was. And, a lot of people don't want to live in their parents' houses. So it's a thought process in regards to not only we don't have enough houses, we may not have the right houses because the millennials and the Gen Zs want to live in different things and whatever it is. So having the right thing at the right time, I think the study is spot on in regards to, in a couple of years, we're going to have a real problem. I mean, we have a problem now. We're going to have a real problem.
You put up it's the seller's market, right?
Yeah.
You talk about this all the time. It's, as soon as a house goes up for sale, it's gone.
Yeah.
And then look, from the old school days of when we first got married and we're buying a house, and you bought a house, and the lesson was, okay, whatever it was listed for, you came down.
Right,
exactly. 5,000, 10,000. You tried to negotiate.
And you could
whatever.
You could send out that. Yes.
Now you go up 5,000, 10,000.
I know,
because
it's
otherwise you don't get the house.
Yeah.
It's a different.
You look at the other part of this is you look at these other communities, these other states, cities around the country. You have these developments. This is what it seems like the younger worker under 35 is looking for. There's a barbershop in the complex. Sure. There's a bar. There's a workout center. There's a pool area, a common area.
Walk. There's a place for them to do it.
Where they have their own little community. Maybe it's time that we at least take a look at that.
Well, I think, when you look at places like Air City Lofts, that kind of does that.
It does.
That gives, and hopefully in the future, as they are building out, more and looking at more of the different space. And, and that's why I look at, when I look at, not to jump ahead to the sports complex, I think that's something that, can also, complement, the working environment and then blending in with the living environment. Nobody thought years ago we would have housing at Griffiths. Everybody said, the park. And we've got to stop. I think one of the things we talked about the last couple of days when we were talking about, it's really not the business park as it was.
Yeah,
and before everybody gets crazy on me for saying that, because it encompasses so much more.
It does.
It's not, it's not, the Utica Business Park is a business park.
Right.
There's businesses there. It's kind of landlocked, and it's that. Griffiths goes through the community.
It's almost as if it could be its own little
a district or whatever, but it's more of a business district than a business park in that regard.
Let's go to the before we run out of time. I want to go to the what is it? Hangar 51,
the 101,
101, because they name
the
military. The plan here, I think, is spectacular.
Well, I've been, it really it goes back because, as I said, our focus there had been over the years, and even before the county took over the airport, before I was county executive, and, when I was with the SD, the thought was, we've got these hangars, we've got the benefit of aviation, aviation industry. And, we started off pretty good with a group called Empire Aero. They were out of Florida. I was part of when we brought them up here when I was with the SD. And then it kind of just, it waned and it moved. And we've had, I think, 5 others or 4 or 5 since then. And I told the team, after the last one kind of didn't materialize as well, the most recent one, well, look, this model doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the North, and it's to no one's fault. And I'm not, it's the businesses tried, the industry. I don't know if it's the Northeast. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know if it's just the
you would think it's a perfect fit.
You would think it would be, especially with the size of those hangars and the capacity we have.
And maybe it is just the businesses that are participating and willing to, that aren't ingrained somewhere already.
Right, but they, and then you get the ones that want to come in and, well, we've got 6 months work, we got a year, we got 2 years, and so my point was, look, we're done with this.
Yeah,
we've got, we're focusing on UAS and Skydome and all the other pieces. We got to look at another purpose, and so we were just kind of thinking, what other purpose can we do with that? They're massive buildings, and and just thinking about it, and then looking at warehouse space or other pieces, but they're too cavernous, and so funny enough, Rob Esch and I are having a discussion one day about the next steps, about, looking at the success of Nexus and what else can we build or what else can we look at, and talking about recreation. I said, let's go look at the hangars. I want you to look at this.
Yeah.
And his initial thought, it was funny because he was thinking I was talking about the nose docks. If you've ever been up Griffiths, some of the smaller pieces that are there that we house, which are big. And I said, no. I said, meet me up there. We'll have lunch and we'll go see it. And we did. And he walked in and it was like, oh my God. And then we had a couple other developers just come and take a look at it. And, as well as working with the mayor. And it's like, you've got a ready-made arena there.
Right.
That can be multiple fields, multiple basketball courts, multiple pickleball courts.
How many pickleball
tennis
courts, by the way?
We said, and if we used all just for pickleball, it would be 250.
Think about that.
Just
and then
if that's all we did.
The height is important as
the
well.
Height is,
because that
I don't know,
allows
it's
for
125. I don't even,
That's allowing for baseball.
That's allowing for
Believe it or
baseball,
not.
for youth baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do batting cages. You could do, you could do, much. You could do, some levels of softball in there.
In the winter.
Baseball. In the wintertime.
Yeah.
You can do basketball
changer.
tournaments.
Yeah.
You can do soccer. You could do lacrosse. You could do flag football.
Yeah.
You could do a lot of different things, and at the same time, and then you can also have another component of cafes, restaurants, even lodging. I looked at a place. There's a place in Ohio that recently converted a hangar to a recreation space in Blue Ash, I think it's south of Cincinnati. But the models are out there.
How do you do it and not compete with Nexus?
Well, it won't compete with Nexus because there's no ice.
Right.
No, we're not
ice.
talking of any sheets of ice. As far as the soccer, I think we're looking, as far as soccer or lacrosse, again, Nexus is unique in that, those rinks are, will always be,
Remember, you were talking about soccer is arena soccer.
Soccer is arena.
Here you could do
full size. You could do
field.
Full size. You could do multiple, and you could
Yeah.
do different things. So but the competition could be. I wouldn't look at it as competition. I would look at it as as a benefit to both. I mean, you could do bigger tournaments where you can have them in both cities.
Or
you could do other things.
How do we move forward on this? What's the plan?
The next plan is, we're developing an RFP to put out, to start looking at development of the site, of the retrofit. The nice thing is we don't have to build it. We just have to lay turf.
Yeah.
I mean, which I understand there's details to all of this. We have to do some other amenities in terms of, locker rooms and things like that in places, but that building is so unique and so massive that it gives us, a great opportunity. And then, looking at, what else we do on the outside space. I mean, you have parking built in. I mean, you can put.
I'm thinking maybe a canal around the whole thing, so there could be like Trump flotillas going around like in Florida.
But the point was, look, that was, and that's why Chobani does changes the dynamics.
Yeah.
Because while I had always looked at those hangars as an economic engine of sorts, or a piece of economic impact, it's not needed. At least on the park.
Yeah.
When you got literally in walking distance or thereabouts from that hangar to what Chobani's going to be, you're going to have 1,000 jobs plus.
I want to talk more about this, and we have Ryan Nobles coming up, and I'd like you to stay into that conversation if you can. Quickly, though, Larry, I'll take you for a quick question for the county executive. Larry, you're on with Tony Pacini.
Yeah, we get a percentage of the slot revenues from the casino, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. How do you know you're getting the correct amount? Which the nation will never let you look at their books. So if you're supposed to get $25 million, you get $20 million. How are you going to know?
Okay. I'm just going to ask you this question.
Okay. Yeah.
We got to work this headphone thing out because there should be an automatic in here.
Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead. The question is, how do you know? If you're basing the revenue from the slot machines on what the nation tells you, how do you know those numbers are accurate?
Because they have to be per the settlement agreement, and it is verified by
it's
an
extremely
independent
regulated.
Account. It's extremely regulated. Everything that is done there, even it's not. It's
independent regulation.
Independent, tied to the state. The state controller then also reviews it. I mean, they make significant payments. I mean, we're talking, we're talking, over 25 million a quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, so how do you not validate that?
All right, Larry, that fair enough?
All right, thank you.
Okay. Davey, don't go too far because we're going to be missing some. We're going to have to miss some, and you can blame me. I'll be here to take the heat. A quick break. I don't want to go that long. Quick break. Ryan Nobles is, let's make it a 3-minute break. Quick 3-minute break. Ryan Nobles is next on WIBX.
Hi, I'm Gail, and I've been driving for Whitesboro for about 5 years now. What keeps me coming back is all the kids. I love seeing their faces and their excitement. I get to be the first person that they see at the beginning of the day. It's the best district that I've ever worked for. I wish I'd come sooner. They truly care about the students and the other drivers. If you're thinking about it, do it. Give Andy a call at 315-768-9740 or stop by the garage, 20 Wood Road, Whitesboro.
At Steve Pawnee Chevrolet in Herkimer, we proudly salute those who serve. Right now, military members, active, reserve, or retired, can receive an additional $750 rebate as our way of saying thank you. Looking for a powerful new Chevy truck? Check out the 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT 4-wheel drive. Now with 0.9% financing for 60 months, plus a whopping $6,750 in total rebates. Or explore our huge selection of Car Bravo certified pre-owned vehicles with financing as low as 4.99% for up to 72 months. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, together, let's drive to Steve Pawnee Chevrolet in Herkimer, where it's always easy to do business. With approved top-tier credit through GM Financial, Silverado offer requires 2011 or newer trade-in and 2011 or newer Chevrolet in household. Must be active, reserve, or retired military. Taxes and fees due at delivery. Offers end May 31st. See dealer for complete details.
Clearing out your home or commercial building, John's Cleanouts and Property Preservation will handle it for you. We handle residential or any size commercial property, before and after estate sale cleanouts or any junk removal service. John's Cleanouts and Property Preservation is a 5-star rated and background checked business, providing service you can count on, and we're fully insured in the industry. Call John's Cleanouts and Property Preservation today and take the stress out of your mess.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
People with diabetes or prediabetes measure blood sugar to make informed decisions about diet and medications. Continuous glucose monitoring devices, or CGMs, measure blood sugar through a wearable skin sensor that transmits data to an app, insulin pump, or receiver. Continuous monitoring, no finger stick required. Kinney Pharmacies accept most insurance for CGMs, and big news, now Medicare Part B too. If you have a prescription for a CGM, talk to your Kinney pharmacist or visit KinneyDrugs.com.
We're the power and power equipment, White's Farm Supply.
At Kubota, we want to help you deliver a job done right. That's why we want you to know that new Kubota inventory is arriving daily. You have work to do. We have the reliable, durable, and versatile lineup to help you do it. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power and power equipment, White's Farm Supply.
Hey, River Hills Properties is the fastest growing real estate company in the area. And if you're thinking about maybe becoming one of those snowbirds where you spend time here in the summer months, but you avoid, well, it may have to be the way the weather has been. You may have to stay in Florida till around, I don't know, August. based on our weather. But River Hills can help. Two very different markets, but they now have offices in both, up here and down there in the beautiful, amazing Gulf Coast of Florida. Sarasota, Naples, Marco Island, just beautiful. Great opportunities. Maybe you downsize here and invest there, and that's how you become the snowbird. River Hills Properties with offices in Barneville, Little Falls, Utica, to the north in Copenhagen, in Newport, and now in Sarasota, Florida. Remember, nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, let me bring in Ryan Nobles from NBC. Ryan, good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, Bill. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. County Executive. How's everyone doing today?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
I did want to look up the Latin translation of habeas corpus, and it says must have the body. Do you realize that's what it really literally means?
Well, it depends on how people's minds go.
And, I think that's what she's thinking. That look at me. I mean, I'm the perfect specimen.
You're going down a road you don't want to go, I think, yourself.
You're right. My question is, how in the world does the head of Homeland Security now know the definition in this current climate of habeas corpus?
That is an unbelievably great and obvious question, Bill, and it's one that I certainly don't have an answer to, especially given the fact that, I watched a good portion of about 3 hearings that she was a part of where habeas corpus came up about 4 different times. She was never specifically asked the definition of habeas corpus, but was answering questions with the assumption that she knew what the definition of habeas corpus was. So the fact that she so demonstrably destroyed the definition of habeas corpus then makes you think you need to go back and look at some of the answers to some of these questions, because perhaps the way she answered them, we should have interpreted the way we did. But I think it was a pretty startling moment on Capitol Hill for sure.
I have about 5 minutes here, and in studio is County Executive Anthony Pisani. If you could say good morning to him, and Tim Reed is in as well. They may have questions to pop in. What are members of Capitol Hill saying? Obviously, we'll get to this budget coming up. That's what all the focus seems to be on. But Russia and Ukraine, it does seem that the vice president and the president have 2 different messages in regards to this. And then there's a conversation with Putin, which seemed to really go nowhere. And before it and after it, there are huge attacks on Ukraine. What are you hearing on Capitol Hill?
Well, you remember that President Trump promised that this war would be over on day 1. I think we're at day 125, and we're maybe further away from the war being over than when he took office. I do think that, there is a significant faction of Capitol Hill Republicans, particularly on the Senate side, less on the House side, that do not want to abandon Ukraine, that believe that Ukraine should be supported by the United States, and that their efforts they do believe in finding a path to the end of this war, but they also don't believe that we should just give Russia anything it wants for the war to come to an end. And I think what they've been doing is they've been playing a long game with President Trump and giving him the opportunity to try and negotiate some sort of settlement between the two sides. And they are helping him to learn what many of them who've been in the foreign policy space for a long time already know, and that is that you cannot trust Vladimir Putin, that he is not a faithful arbiter when it comes to things like these, and that there's the possibility that he is basically going to screw you, for lack of a better description. And that does seem to be the trajectory that we're headed on now. I think the open question, though, that hasn't been answered is whether or not Trump abandons this effort to find a peace deal and then just walks away from this completely, throws his hands up and says, this is no longer the U.S.'s problem. We're going to put our heads in the sand and pretend like what happens in Europe is not impacting us. Or when he says they walk away, because you see Secretary of State Rubio said it, the Vice President said it the other day, that we're not going to be a part of this anymore, does that mean that they back off but then still support Ukraine?
Yeah.
And basically get back to where things were when he took office. And I think we don't know the answer to that.
We have the minerals deal, which we're going to have to protect. Tim Reed with a question.
Ryan, so, the one of the things I do wonder about this whole thing with Putin is the one thing Trump does not like is he being put in a bad light. And I do wonder if Putin, with these continued drone attacks or whatever it is kind of throwing a bit of shade on Trump, which might in fact push him more towards the sanctions route than maybe some thought.
No, you're right, Tim. I think that what Trump does not like is to be shown up, and I think that he miscalculated the relationship that he has with Putin. I think he both thought that we're both strong men, we're both kind of tough guys, like we speak the same language. We don't take no for an answer. And he speaks my language. He's going to understand me. I can go in and talk to him mano a mano, and we'll get an end to this. What he doesn't understand is that Putin only has one goal when it comes to this war, and that is a complete and total takeover of Ukraine. And Trump was of the mindset that he could negotiate just like you could negotiate a casino deal, and let's get some minerals and energy, and you can have this one little section of Ukraine, and then we'll call it a day. And that's not what Putin is looking for here. He's not a businessman. He's a dictator, and you don't negotiate with a dictator. And so, yes, with each passing moment where Trump, maybe on the phone, Putin gives him some sort of an impression that his message is breaking through, and then he immediately goes and does a deadly drone attack. That just makes Trump look silly at every turn. And I just don't know how long Trump can tolerate that for. You can see it's already started to wane.
Let's about a minute and a half. Let's switch gears and talk about the big, beautiful budget deal and then the salt tax.
I'd love to know if the county executive views it as a big, beautiful budget deal because, I think that there is, I think the state of New York is has the chance of being so very directly impacted by this in terms of, I know that it's the county executive's responsibility to administer Medicaid and Medicare to many of the county residents as a pass-through from the state and the federal government. We're talking about significant cuts to that program. And then, of course, there's this conversation about the state and local tax deduction. I know that doesn't impact Oneida County residents at the same level it does maybe downstate.
No, it does. It does.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah. So, I just wonder from the county executive's perspective, like how closely he's watching these deliberations and what he's bracing for, I guess.
Well, the biggest thing I'm bracing for is what happens on Medicaid, because whenever, whether it gets cut, that puts a lot of people off of the system. And then, what is, and New York has been traditional, especially in the state legislature, of saying, well, wait, we'll pick it up.
Yeah.
And what they mean by we'll pick it up means that I'll pick it up.
Yes.
In the other counties. So I'm very concerned about how that's going to affect us and in this budget. And look, I think the salt piece is a key. I think we've lost residents because of that.
Listen, the Republicans in New York are digging in. So, Ryan, we'll see where all of it goes. We are out of time. We'll do it again next week. We appreciate it. We'll be watching on TV.
Yeah, next time, bring me on with the county executive for a longer period of time because I got a million questions.
All right, we're going to do it. All right,
we're going to talk about the Mets.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
It's day 6 of the manhunt for escaped prisoners in Louisiana. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We continue to develop credible leads on all of these individuals.
State Attorney General Liz Muriel also tells Fox
they've been very methodical and they are effectively, gathering people up. We're about halfway there.
After the 5th of the 10 escapees was captured last night.
It happened just outside the French Quarter where we are this morning as 19-year-old Corey Boyd was taken into custody at a housing development. Boyd was originally held for second-degree murder, aggravated battery, and threatening a public official.
Fox's Nate Foy in New Orleans. They all broke out early Friday. A jail maintenance worker is charged with helping them escape. A congressman has died. Democrat Jerry Connolly from Virginia, who had recently announced he wouldn't be running for re-election as he battled cancer. Connolly was 75. In the House now, the Rules Committee's been working since 1 a.m. trying to finalize that massive budget plan President Trump calls one big, beautiful bill.
We're trying to get everything done so that we have the possibility of a vote tonight or tomorrow.
Republican Congressman Morgan Griffith says not everyone in the GOP is united yet, like President Trump's urging them to be, as the bill would fund his agenda, extending the 2017 tax cuts. Democrats say that'll benefit the wealthy in a bill they claim will take health coverage and food assistance away from poorer Americans. Israel went on the attack again overnight with airstrikes targeting Hamas. The Palestinians say killed at least 45 people in Gaza, where the living conditions are a big concern for Pope Leo XIV, appealing for more humanitarian aid today. In his first general audience of about 40,000 people there in St. Peter's Square,
he said the devastating price of the war was being paid by children, the elderly and the sick. After an 11-week blockade, Israel says it will allow basic amounts of food to enter Gaza. According to the UN, as of yesterday, nothing had reached those in need.
Jonathan Savage, America's listening to Fox News.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-973-9819. And you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9819. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9819 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-9819.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. News time is 9:03. I'm Megan Stone with your news update. 3 juveniles were arrested following an incident at the Madison Oneida Bosse's Triplexus building in Verona yesterday morning. According to the Oneida County Sheriff's Office, they were called by the school resource officer to help stop an altercation on school grounds. Deputies arrived at the scene and 2 juveniles were arrested for obstruction of governmental administration. A third was also arrested on the same charge, as well as on menacing and harassment charges. All 3 were issued appearance tickets and released to their guardians. The Syracuse Police Department is identifying the officer who was involved in a deadly shooting. Officers went to an apartment building on North Townsend Street last Tuesday night after getting a shots fired call. They entered the building and exchanged gunfire with 42-year-old Donnell Hogan. Hogan ended up being killed when Officer Chris Mazzotti shot him with his patrol rifle. Mazzotti has been with the department for years and is on leave. The State Attorney General's office is still looking into what happened. Cucumbers from 2 Florida companies are being recalled. The FDA and CDC are investigating salmonella infections linked to cucumbers grown by Bedner growers and distributed by Fresh Start Produce Sales. According to the FDA, 26 people in 15 states have been infected with salmonella, with 9 being hospitalized. Impacted states include California, New York, Colorado, and South Carolina. Restaurants, retailers, and distributors are recommended to notify customers of a possible health risk if potentially contaminated cucumbers were purchased between April 29th and May 19th. And a new report claims only a fourth of sunscreens on the U.S. shelves are safe and effective. According to the Environmental Working Group, the majority of sunscreens do not protect against UVA and UVB rays and may also contain hazardous chemical ingredients. Among recommended brands include Solara Sun Care, True Botanicals, Attitude, Think Baby, Crunchy, Think Sport, and Happy Ocean. The full list of recommended brands based on recreational activity and or for kids and babies are available on the 2025 Sunscreen Guide list on EWG.org. Your Weather Center forecast: showers later today, a high around 59. Rain tonight, low 44. Showers continuing through tomorrow, high 51. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
518-554-0000, 100 Great Oaks, Albany.
You're listening to The Brian Kilmeade Show, only on WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
From high
atop Fox News headquarters in New York City. Always seeking solutions, never sowing division. It's Brian Kilmeade.
Good morning. It is not Brian Kilmeade. It is your humble correspondent, Griff Jenkins, sitting in for the one and only Brian Kilmeade today, coming to you from Washington, D.C., in the belly of the beast, if you will, in the swamp. And I'm sitting in the Tony Snow radio show in Washington. I've said this before, but for listeners that have not heard me say it, it is always not only the greatest honor to be sitting in the Tony Snow radio studio, which is a show that I started with Fox as Tony Snow's producer. He was a great man, a great radio broadcaster, but also to be in a radio studio because in the 90s I had started the Oliver North radio show, Common Sense Radio for America, we called it. And I have never felt more comfortable in any environment than in a radio studio and behind a radio mic. So it is a great honor, a great privilege to be sitting in for Brian, who has the day off. We can talk about anything and everything under the sun. Just a quick backdrop, though. I started in radio in the 90s, and I remember in the days of Rush Limbaugh was king, the Great Rush, and we would listen to it and take our cues sometimes from the direction he would take it. And he talked about the cuts and trying to rein in government and making our federal government for the American people. He would find instances of waste, fraud, and abuse, just one single thing that Elon Musk and Doge has found, and it would be a topic for a week long on Rush and then on Sean Hannity's show, and he was rising in the radio ranks, and on Ollie's radio show, and then later even on Tony Snow's show. And it's fascinating now to have been this young kid producing radio at a time when the only people that were really talking about putting America first and doing the things that President Trump and this administration is doing now, to have heard it back then, 25 years ago, and now to see in just the first 100 days of President Trump's second administration, seeing the really dynamic, bold moves. It's quite, but whether you agree with it or not, it is bold, and it is going to have long-lasting impacts on people and all of us that have been around the conservative movement and conservative radio for years and years. It's something to really sit back and marvel at, to say, wow, someone actually got it done. It actually happened. And it's no knock on people like Newt Gingrich in the contract with America and in those days when, they were trying to do it, but they didn't rein in government. Government got bigger. But now you're seeing the cut after cut, the waste, fraud, and abuse being removed, and entire government agencies being whittled down. It is really going to be fascinating to see where we are just a year from now, and certainly by the end